All right, San Diego and Southern California, what's going on? Jon and Jim on this critically important day for our nation with the college football playoff rankings getting released in an hour. We will have more clarity on the direction of college football in about 60 minutes.
But he's only the first updated college football
and
rankings.
Who even cares? Right. This is this to that point. Point, that's like saying, here, we'll do some election talk off the top of the show. I'm sure it's just like everyone was hoping.
Like right now.
It's like when they show you 1% of the precincts reporting. Well, that's not the final score. It would be like if the Packers led the Bears 7-3 after one, they might lose the game.
Or after the first 5 minutes of the game.
Yeah, exactly. So anyway, we'll get college football playoff rankings. We'll react to it at 4 p.m. Wayne McKinney III, who transferred from USD to San Diego State, who opens his season tomorrow night for SDSU, will join us at the 4 o'clock hour. We've got a loaded 4 o'clock hour. Wayne McKinney III. Will Brinson, our NFL weekly guest, presented by Hamul. UCSD's head coach, Eric Olen, will join us because it's San Diego State UCSD tomorrow night at Viejas Arena. You can hear it right here. Ted Leitner on the call at 7 p.m. on San Diego Sports 760. So a really good show lined up for you. We have tickets to give away still for tomorrow night. If you're an Aztec men's basketball fan, if you want to be there for a banner getting raised for the Sweet 16 last year, don't go anywhere. We have 2 pairs of tickets to give away. One of them we'll give away in the 4 o'clock hour, and one of them, why don't we just give them away in the 3 o'clock hour, Jim?
Sure.
We're going to give away one of those pairs in the 3 o'clock hour. Now, you mentioned in the update that AJ Preller's in Texas. The GM meetings are underway.
Correct.
I thought Mike Farron yesterday, let's start here and react to it. I thought Mike Farron did an incredible job in about 2.5 minutes of summarizing everything the Padres need to do. You don't need to go watch the wrap-up show.
Oh, great.
Yeah. You don't need to go listen to us.
Oh, perfect.
You can just listen to what Mike Farron had to say in terms of what the Padres should be thinking about here in the offseason.
Just don't listen to anything we ever say again.
Nothing else matters other than this bite from Mike Farron, MLB Network Radio yesterday.
Yeah, I mean, I think Profar is a good bet to return just because things have gone so well for him there.
Yep.
I don't know that you can expect the same level of production that you got this year from him, but I think, something that's certainly north of the $1 million deal that he had last year, but maybe more in that 3 and 30 range would make sense. They need a shortstop. I mean, I really think, they could play Bogarts there and they could play Cronenworth at second and Arise at first, but it's not the best defensive alignment because Bogarts just isn't a great shortstop. He's better suited for another position. So I could see them, like Kim would be a guy that you would probably get on a little bit lower base, higher incentive deal if you wanted to bring him back just because he's coming off shoulder surgery. And I'm not even sure if he's going to be ready for opening day. The problem is that the market for shortstops is really thin because other than him, it's Willy Adames, who is probably going to cost a number that this Padres ownership group isn't willing to go to for an everyday shortstop. And I think that there are teams that have more pressing needs, like the Giants, who will probably spend more to be able to get him. So, and then you have to start looking at what are the trade options at shortstop, and it's not a great list, but I'm sure that they can probably try and look that direction if they want. And catcher, the market got a little bit better with Travis d'Arnaud on it. I mean, he did not have a good second half, and he's 36. But, Luis Campusano is still there, and then Campusano has some good offensive upside, and I think that there's ways that they can piece it together. I don't think Ethan Salas and Leodalis DeVries are going to play factors on the 2025 team. I mean, as much as they're cool with moving guys a la Jackson Merrill really quickly, I just don't think that that's going to be quite it. I mean, DeVries is like the second youngest player in the history of the fall league. And he's been okay out here, but it's not like it's, there's nothing in his stat line that tells you he's ready for the big leagues yet. He put up a decent year in Elsinore, especially when you consider he's 17 years old. But I think there's probably some more refinement that needs to come. So you're looking at external, additions at probably 3 positions and at least another starting pitcher for depth with the Joe Musgrove injury. So they have some work to do, and I don't have a clear idea of what their budget's going to look like yet. Hopefully they have a little bit of flexibility, but they're right at the luxury tax line as it is. And, we saw how much they wanted to reduce payroll last year, and things are probably a little better after hosting a couple of playoff games, but I can't imagine that they're going to go back and spend like they did when Peter Seidler was alive.
There it is. There's the offseason.
All right.
We'll
so
see in March.
to talk to you guys in a couple months.
Yeah.
Jon and Jim, right?
Coming
Wrap-up
up
show.
next.
Don't even need to have anything, so we're good.
Actually, I was actually told to promote this, so I will. And forget about it. Just get all the election coverage you need wherever you are with the free iHeartRadio app. Just open the app and search AM 600 to listen to Kogo's coverage of election 2024 on the go. iHeartRadio, always live for events that matter. Open the app and listen now.
All right. See you guys
All right, that was
tomorrow?
fun.
Tomorrow or
right.
in 3
No,
months?
March. When's this? March 27th. Who do they play? Giants? It's always the Giants.
Like the Braves or something?
Perfect. We'll catch up maybe a couple hours beforehand.
Well, you don't want to start at like spring training?
No.
Okay.
Yeah, we'll start March 27th.
Okay. See
let me quickly summarize. We're just kidding, kind of. In 2.5 minutes, he said this. Profar 3 for 30. They need a shortstop. Salas and DeVries, don't count on them in 2025, which we've said for a year. Need starting pitching. We agree. And what's their budget? He thinks they're already up against the CBT. He didn't say he thinks. He said they're up against the CBT. And we talked about this last night, actually, on a wrap-up show. There's not a lot of wiggle room, Jim. When you add in the arbitration guys, where they are, like if you add in all the arbitration, the Kings and the Arises, you're up to the CBT, right? That's what's being speculated and formulated and discussed. They don't have a lot of wiggle room. Are they going over the CBT? The number one question, I said this last on the wrap-up show, the number one question for this team, what are they spending next year? That's the number one question. What are they spending?
So the number they're at right now, with all the projected arbitration numbers, is about $206 million for their CBT number.
But doesn't include their free agents.
Does not include their free agents. What I'm saying is what they have right, including the players in their team that will get arbitration money.
Yep.
And the raises that they will get, it's about $206 million. The CBT number that they probably don't want to go over again is about $241.
So let's just say you re-signed Jerkson Profar and Kyle Higashioka.
All right, give me Profar for
10 a year.
Okay, I was going to say 12.
Okay, let's say 11 then.
Okay, 11.
So 205 plus 11 is 216.
Yes.
Let's say Kyle Higashioka, we've seen 6 per year. That's reasonable, right?
Let's go 8.
Let's say 7.
Okay.
So now you're at 223. You're 18 million under. You don't have a shortstop in that hypothetical. You don't have you've re-signed your catcher.
You don't have back end starting pitching to replace Joe Musgrove. You probably need to continue to maybe get bullpen help. What are you going to do at shortstop? What are you going to do at your bench? What are you going to do potentially at first base?
Starting rotation.
Yeah.
Joe Musgrove's out. Yeah. That gives you, but think about that. If you had 18 million after signing Profar and Higashioka, that's no wiggle room, because oftentimes you go into a season wanting to have 5 to 10 because you get to a trade deadline and you want to take on salary.
And that's what they did this past
year. Yeah.
They went into the season with some wiggle room so they could make the moves that they made at the deadline for a Tanner Scott, for a Jason Adam, to get players like Luis Ariz, even though they got luck. They didn't get lucky there, but I think, kind of swindled the Marlins by having the Marlins pay all of the remaining salary for the past year.
Seems like a good deal. Yeah.
A great deal, in my opinion. You got an all-star, you got a silver slugger, you got a batting champ, and he helped you in a big way to get to the postseason. So same thing and then you had Dylan Cease that you brought on. Not a lot of money there, but still, you had wiggle room to go out and make the moves that you felt like you needed to make. So now that's the question going into this season and going into the offseason here with the winter meetings coming up here next month. What's the budget? What's the number? How much are they willing to spend? How are they willing to go over that threshold because they reset the CBT this past year? Are they willing to go back over that number because they reset it? Or are they not? Are they steadfast in staying under that number, staying under the number? Are they steadfast in staying way under that number? Like what is going to be their course of action? And I think we'll find out pretty quickly once the hot stove gets heated up here during the winter meetings and moves are starting to happen. If the Padres don't make any significant move, then we'll kind of know.
To that point, dude, and that's why I say the budget's the number one thing. It's like if you and Aaron are looking for houses and she wants 3 bedrooms and she wants a nice kitchen and she wants a nice neighborhood, well, you have to have the budget. Like you might listen. A lot of people want to have a 3-bedroom house, but they end up settling for 2. A lot of people want to buy, but they end up renting. I mean, so that's what we're talking about here. I mean, you might think that they need frontline starting pitching. They might not have the money for frontline starting pitching. Now, AJ Preller's super creative. He might be able to do it via trade. He's done it a lot via trade. I trust in Preller to put them in a position to field a very competent 26-man roster, but he might have to get very creative. I think he did this past year, and it worked out really well. But this was the best job he did in a decade. So can he replicate a really good job again?
And the best job he did in a decade didn't get him past the NLDS.
You're right. That's 100%. That's accurate. I mean, there's 2 parts to that story. The regular season was really encouraging. They haven't won that many games since 1998. The postseason was discouraging. They squandered a really good opportunity. Now, I don't put that on Preller, nor do you, but they did squander a really good opportunity in real time.
Hey, but raise the banner for the Dodgers thought that the Padres were their toughest competitors in the postseason on their way to a World Series.
Too many characters. You're going to have to shorten that.
You got to shorten that thing up.
That's too many characters.
Tighten it up, Jim. Tighten it up.
All right. Well, the good news is because of the job that Preller did last year, he's obviously won Executive of the Year. So we'll react to AJ Preller.
Right.
Was he named Executive of the Year or not? We'll get an answer on that on the other side. Plus, we have San Diego State UCSD tickets for tomorrow night at Viejas Arena. We're getting you ready for that game with an Aztec. Wayne McKinney III will join us. Will Brinson's our NFL insider. He'll join us at 4 p.m. We have UCSD's head coach Eric Olen on the show as well. We'll give away San Diego State UCSD tickets. We'll react to the Executive of the Year in Major League Baseball. AJ Preller or not? That's next on Jon and Jim. All right, hey guys, it's Jon and Jim. We've been telling you about our friends over at Hamul Casino throughout the course of this football season. A reminder, join them every single Monday night. Join them all week long, but join them every single Monday night throughout the NFL season for chances to win big with promotions at Hamul Casino.
Yeah, with 10 winners every hour at 7 p.m., 8 p.m., and 9 p.m. Your odds, they're better than ever. Plus, you can earn entries all month long by playing and getting 2-time entries on Tuesdays, with at least $500 in cash for all winners and a chance to win up to $10,000 in cash.
You are absolutely going to love Tony Gwynn Sports Pub. And by the way, you can win even more than $10,000 in cash. You can win $100,000
and $25,000 in cash as well.
You can win all kinds of money, obviously, at Hamul. You're going to love Tony Gwynn Sports Pub. Great food and drinks. All the action is on the TVs there. They've got great Tony Gwynn sports memorabilia. They have endless dining at Hamul 5 nights a week, which includes a Saturday surf and turf buffet. You'll love it. Steaks, seafood, wide arrays of great food.
Yeah, it's a great place to hang out. Their deck bar overlooking the valley, plus all of their food selections. Tony Gwynn Sports Pub is a great place to go to watch a sporting event and have great food as well. Hamul Casino, it's fun above all else.
All right, Jon and Jim back with you. We've got tickets for tomorrow night at VA House Arena. San Diego State UCSD will give those away. Also, make sure to catch the Aztecs opener tomorrow night. Right here in your home of the Aztecs, San Diego Sports 760. Pre-game with Jon. Flat. 6. Around 7 p.m. So you have been singing the praises of AJ Preller throughout the second half. This guy did everything perfectly, pulled the right strings, got his team to 93 wins. You thought he was a great candidate to win Executive of the Year, right?
Not only a great candidate, I thought and think that he should have won Executive of the Year.
He didn't.
I know he didn't, Jon.
Yeah.
Who did win it?
It was Arnold, of course. Arnold won it. Matt Arnold for the Brewers.
Oh,
Hey, Arnold.
But surely Preller was a finalist, right?
You like top 3, you mean?
Yeah, top 3.
No, he wasn't in the top 3.
Do they do like the Heisman? How many second place votes did he get?
Yeah, no. JJ Piccolo of the Royals finished second. Guardians president of baseball operations, Chris Antonetti, finished third. He also won it in 2022. AJ Preller outside the top 3.
Oh yeah, that makes sense. It makes 0 sense.
So you're gonna get hot and bothered on this?
I'm gonna have some fake outrage right now, Jon.
Okay.
You ready for this? So let me get this straight. A guy that traded for Dylan Cease, Luis Ariz, Jason Adam, and Tanner Scott. You could all count those guys as really good players and a couple all-stars there and one of the best closers in the game at the time in Tanner Scott and a guy that was second in Cy Young voting a couple years ago. Like, they're all good players, right?
Definitely.
Okay. Signed Donovan Solano, David Peralta off the scrap heap. And then, they signed a player to a $1 million contract who was the starting left fielder in the All-Star game. Is that pretty good?
That's good.
It's pretty good. And he took a rookie 21-year-old that was a shortstop, and they moved him to center field. And then that player became an all-star center fielder and probably the rookie of the year, right?
That's correct.
Yeah. No, that guy shouldn't win his Executive of the Year. What do the Brewers
Well, let me tell you
guy
this.
do?
But here's the thing with the Brewers.
Okay.
Because this is what you're missing.
Oh, it's what
in 2023, the Brewers won 92 games. They
Oh.
followed up that season by winning 93 this year.
Oh.
So with all that improvement, now 93 wins obviously is a good year. We're talking about
So
AJ
they have
Preller
the
with
same amount of wins as the
same amount of
Padres.
wins coming off a better year than the Padres. I mean, first of all, each team gets one vote for Executive of the Year. So this is done internally, each team voting for other executives, and Preller didn't get either first or second or third. Is that a reason for, like, is that as significant to you as if Jackson Merrill doesn't win Rookie of the Year, for example?
No, because this I guess quote unquote award
Doesn't
started
really have value.
in 2018. I want to say.
Oh, is that right?
It's
Okay.
only been around for
5-10 years.
Yeah,
Yeah.
not like a award that's been around for the last 60 years.
And Rookie of the Year will then warrant a first round pick for the Padres if Merrill wins it. They'll get a pick
Right.
after the first round, which actually does have value in 2025. Let's go to the phones. 877-767-4760 if you want to weigh in. Again, 877-767-4760. You can always text us, 70470, start it with team, or hit us up on the Talkback mic. Open the iHeartRadio app, search for San Diego Sports 760. Click on the microphone. But let's go to, is it Race? Race wants to talk about AJ Preller. Race, you're on with Jon and Jim.
Hey guys.
What's up, man?
First things first, it's been a while since I called, but gotta admit I was wrong. I predicted the Padres would miss the playoffs, and obviously the second half run was pretty spectacular. I put that on Shildt mostly for the chemistry and that sort of thing, making everything work that didn't work last year.
Yeah.
But I mean, I still won't get off the fire Preller horse. I mean, I know it's not going to happen because they made the playoffs, but you still have to look at the whole body of work, in my opinion, of the 10 years. And the Padres competing for a World Series, starting with whatever it was, 2020. He's not even close to getting it done. And this, as you guys are pointing out, putting together a roster for next year is going to be next to impossible. This Bogarts contract is going to ruin us for the next 9 years, and Manny's will probably in another 3 or 4 years. And so, I don't know. I predict the Padres won't win a World Series in the next probably 7-8 years until those contracts are gone. I just don't see how you can compete, bring in starting pitching and fill the bench roles, shortstop, catcher, left fielder, all this stuff. And then, like you guys said, trades and all that stuff. So I know he's Had a great year. Don't get me wrong. I mean, his is definitely his best year, but the body of work and the huge contracts, I just don't see how that's sustainable long term.
Rice, thank you for listening and calling. I mean, I think his points are valid. I think there's people that share the opinion. It's going to be uphill. It's hard to know if they could win a World Series in the next 7 or 8 years. Nobody knows what baseball is going to look like 2 or 3 years from now. But I mean, the points are valid. It's going to be hard for all teams. It is. It's harder for the Padres than it certainly would be for the Dodgers moving forward, and they unfortunately play in the same division.
Well, back to his initial point is that AJ Preller should still be fired.
Well, that's of course not realistic.
That's not going to happen. Yes, does AJ Preller have kind of the 9 lives here? Probably. Should he have been fired maybe after 2021 and after 2022? Yeah, probably.
Like, not after 22, after
23. Sorry, my bad. Yeah, especially after 23. But he didn't. And he's here. He's under contract until 2026.
Through 2026.
I was the biggest proponent of there had to, after 21 and 23, enough's enough. Like, you can't have 2 of the last 3 years be utter failures, new managers left and right, 3 managers in 3 different years or 4 years, and basically having turmoil within your organization year after year after year. But then this year happened. And I kind of view this year as in a vacuum of, this year was great. Are there things that Preller still, it could be viewed as like, okay, I don't like that, or yeah. But this year, just looking at this year alone, he did a phenomenal job. Phenomenal job. Now, can he back that up? Can he back that up? And that's the same things we're saying in 2022. Can he back this up? And can we have some stability here in the organization with the manager here long term and the general manager here long term, like on the same page, in lockstep? Everybody is together, like hand in hand. Or is there going to be another turning point of turmoil and the division and disaster season collapse? Like, how this offseason plays out and how next year plays out is crucial, because you can't keep doing this yo-yo stuff back and forth. We have a great season like 2022 and then disaster in 2023, a really good season in 2024, and then a really bad season in 2025.
Yeah, I think that is accurate. And by the way, I think if they make the postseason in 2025, he'll be the general manager here for as long as he essentially wants to be, aka the foreseeable future. I think if you make the postseason again in 2025, you've bought yourself another couple of years. And if you miss the postseason in 2025, we go back to the conversations we had after 2021 and 2023. We have an update on Shohei Ohtani's health. Remember, he was injured in the World Series. What is that injury? Will it keep him out to begin 2025? That's next on Jon and Jim.
All right, this update is brought to you by Angelo's Towing. We'll start with the Aztecs. Their season gets underway tomorrow night at Viejas Arena against UC San Diego, 7 p.m. tip. You can listen to that game right here on San Diego Sports 760. The GM meetings are underway in Texas. Of course, the top free agents for the Padres are Jerkson Profar and Ha-Seong Kim. NBA news of the day, Joel Embiid has been suspended 3 games for his altercation in the locker room with a reporter. And the college football playoff rankings come out today at 4 p.m. Stuck on the road, Angelo's Towing is here for you 24/7 with over 20 years of experience offering towing and roadside services. For friendly, fast service, call Angelo's Towing at 619-702-8888 or visit angelostowing.com.
Trade deadline winner. We'll have Will Brinson coming up at 4 p.m. Our NFL Insider
The
brought to you by
fans.
Hamul. Maybe the fan. Will Brinson will join us at 4. Wayne McKinney III, Aztec guard at 4:15. Eric Olen, UCSD head coach, as the Aztecs get UCSD on tomorrow night, Wednesday night. He'll join us coming up at 4:30. We do have San Diego State tickets to give away for tomorrow night. We'll do that coming up in the next 30 minutes. We have an update on Shohei Ohtani, who suffered that grotesque World Series injury, Jim.
Oh, it was
in
so
Game 2.
brutal.
It was tough to see. Of course, he bounced back, helped the Dodgers win their first World Series since 1998. I keep saying that. It was 1988. Okay, this is from Alden Gonzalez. Shohei Ohtani suffered a labrum tear, okay, when the Dodgers initially described it as a slight dislocation of his left shoulder. So the Dodgers weren't being truthful, Jim. That was in Game 2 of the World Series. He underwent surgery today. The Dodgers say he'll be ready for spring training. A labrum tear. Underwent surgery, arthroscopic. He's expected to be ready by spring training 2025. Will that impact his ability to pitch next year? Probably not, since it's not his throwing arm.
I mean, probably not. You're right. He went what? 1 for 15, 1 for 20 in the World Series.
Is that what he went?
I think he had 1 hit, and that was that double in Game 1 or 2.
Is he ever going to hit in the World Series? Is that his storyline?
And no one's talking about that. Shohei Ohtani went 1 for whatever in the World Series with a double.
Did he really?
Yeah.
This guy ever going to hit?
Yeah,
It
but it's the
matters?
greatest double in playoff history, though.
That's right. It was. Sorry, my
incredible.
bad.
No one's ever hit a double like that.
I remember it like it was yesterday.
So
That double off the wall.
I'll
Man,
never forget
it's
it.
so hard.
it was just
By the way, he was
greatest
2
double of
for
all time.
19.
Still.
1 for 20. He hit 105 in the World Series.
Oh, that's better.
Yeah, way better.
Way better.
2 for 19 with a double.
Okay.
Now he walked twice.
Oh, great. Do you have any stolen bases?
No, because he tore his shoulder apparently.
Oh, that's right. He got thrown out.
He was
in that-
caught stealing.
Yeah, he got thrown out.
So you don't see this as a significant story that he overcame all odds and stayed in the World Series to help guide the Dodgers to their first title since '88,
No,
and now he'll be back for spring training.
no.
What do you expect them? Do you expect them to use him like the Angels did, which would be pitch every 7th day, once a week, as a starter? You think that's the goal for next year? Pitch him every 7th day?
I don't. I think that they're going to take this in the slow approach. They have enough pitching. They're going to have enough pitching.
Right.
Glass now will be back. May will be back. Kershaw, maybe. I don't know. He's got to lose some weight though if he wants to get ready for next season. And obviously he's going to have some surgery on his knee and his toe. I don't know. I mean, it's.
But this was part
Whatever.
of the reason I say it is because part of our thinking in the Dodgers are only going to be maybe better position next year. Like you said, yeah, they have other starting pitching too. But part of it was, well, hold on. Ohtani wasn't pitching this year. It's coming off like back-to-back or 3 straight really good years.
But even
the
without
mound.
Ohtani, it doesn't matter. They're still going to win 98 plus games.
Even without Ohtani, yeah, I mean, they won 98 this year, but it wasn't that cakewalk regular season. Shoot, it wasn't even a cakewalk through Game 3 of the NLDS.
And unfortunately, like I said,
That was the best chance.
It was kind of, if you're the other teams in baseball, kind of the worst case scenario. The Dodgers were actually playing for something in late September.
Right. Yeah, it's true.
Like, more often than not, you want those teams to be coasting into the postseason because it usually ends up in a letdown. Phillies, did they coast into the postseason? Could you say they coasted into the postseason? potentially, because the Mets and the Braves were kind of fighting it out there
Yeah.
for the wild card spots. I'm not saying that they had a huge lead, but they weren't playing for much the last couple weeks of the season. And guess what happened? They got bounced in the first round by a team that was hotter, playing with their lives on the line every single day.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
It's just how some things work, where if you have the bye, it might be great for you, but more often than not, it feels like the bye doesn't work. But in this case, this year, the bye was crucial for teams, because without the bye, Dodgers probably don't win. Like they had no pitching.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, Ohtani, he'll pitch when he pitches.
You're saying they don't really need him. It's a little bit like, I'll give you an example. Actually, I think it kind of applies, although you won't like it, and it doesn't really apply.
What is it, a Niner analogy?
Yeah, it's kind of like Christian McCaffrey. It's like, and I'm being serious, or like Clayton Kershaw, the way they threw him the last 5 years. Like, you try to get him healthy for the postseason. Now, it didn't work for the Dodgers with Kershaw. I don't know if it's going to work for the Niners with McCaffrey, but it's like, if you're on a pitch count, so to speak, you don't need McCaffrey in week 4. Like, if you get to a point where you can make the postseason and McCaffrey's healthy, maybe that's the difference. Or the Niners taking him long. You kept him healthy.
Ohtani had surgery to repair a labrum tear. Kim had a surgery to repair a labrum tear.
He did, Ben Fadden.
No, I'm just saying, like, Ohtani's gonna be ready for spring. Kim's gonna be out for multiple months. I mean, I don't know what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, what's the point there?
I have no idea what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
I'm just
did they have the same tear? Was it
know.
arthroscopic surgery for both? Because if Kim's surgery wasn't arthroscopic and he had a full tear, that's way different. Full tear is forever. And if it's that forever, and Preller said, wasn't it Preller who said in his end of the year press conference it could be May, June, July? Did he not say those 3 months, or did he say April, May, June?
He said he wasn't going to be ready for spring training, and he would miss time in the regular season. I don't know if he said June. He may be. He may have. Yeah. I don't fully remember, because listening to an AJ Preller press conference, sometimes it's like
it's hard.
It's a hard. You have to pay very close attention and be like locked in.
Kim's arm's his throwing arm.
That's the difference.
That's a big difference.
And Ohtani's is not. Now it affected his swing in the World Series.
Yeah, definitely.
But we'll see. I mean,
I guess my point on yesterday, if to spin it back to Kim, is one of these guys that, do you want to have him back? Can you afford to have him back? If he is going to miss time, and it is considerable, or if the organization believes he'll miss considerable time, then I would pass. I just don't think the 1 year, $12 million deal, putting all your resources into Ha-Seong Kim because you need a shortstop, is worthwhile if you don't think he's going to be fully healthy for 50 games or whatever it is, April and May. Like, that to me seems like a real risk for the organization. I'd rather go with something that's more certain than someone coming off a significant injury that's going to prevent him from being healthy to start the year.
It's a risk, but I also think other teams aren't going to view it that way.
Okay.
I think other teams are going to view it like, yes, he'll miss some time, but over the course of the however long we give for this contract, he's going to help us. He's a plug and play guy, Gold Glove, second baseman, or shortstop. He can hold his own at the plate. He's never going to be anything spectacular. He's never going to hit for a lot of power or a high average. But I mean, if he can go out there, play Gold Glove defense, and give you a 750 OPS every year,
right?
That's kind of what you're banking on. And if you miss a couple months, you miss a couple months. Now I think missing a couple months here for Ha-Seong Kim should affect his free agency, but I don't know if it will.
I think what affects his free agency is he didn't really have a good year.
That too.
Like the fact that you couple an injury with a very average year, and that puts you in a spot where, you have Scott Boras as your agent, but do you want a show me deal? Like Snell coming off this year. I don't even know what Snell's numbers were, but he's going to get multiple
Snell was
years.
really good this season when he was out there.
Okay, so he's going to get now that 4 years, right? Even though he just took a 2-year from the Giants, opted out after 1. Like, does Kim want to go bet on himself? But how do you bet on yourself if you're hurt and you're only going to play a portion of the season?
Kim had a 2.6 WAR this year, a 700 OPS, a 96 OPS plus.
So below average hitter.
His career OPS plus is 99.
Which is below average. Average is 100 for Major League hitter.
Yeah, he's a below average hitter that plays really good defense, even though this past year was not good for him defensively. Made a lot of errors, a lot of mistakes. He might be suited better to be a second baseman in the long term.
Yeah.
which he might be for whatever team he goes to. But I still just go back to every time I talk about Ha-Seong Kim and Xander Bogaerts, why the hell was the change made in spring training to move Kim over to short and Xander to second, if all of a sudden now this year you're moving Xander back to short and you're not re-signing Kim?
We did spend a lot of time on that.
It doesn't make any sense.
I agree with you. All right. On the other side, we're going to get to the wrap because we've got a very busy 4:00 hour. Plus, we're giving away San Diego State tickets for tomorrow night. Season opener for men's basketball. San Diego State, UCSD tomorrow night. We'll give those away coming up next. All right, we've Aztec tickets for tomorrow night. We'll give them away in the next 10 minutes. Will Brinson will join us in 15 minutes. CBS Sports senior NFL writer. Trade deadline is passed in the NFL. Chiefs won last night. Good game. They went to overtime.
Surprising the Chiefs won.
They are 8-0. Will they lose?
They're kind of good.
They'll lose. What are you doing? What's wrong with your headset? I want to hear what's going on.
Nothing, I guess.
Headphone issue?
I can't hear out of one ear, so that's cool.
In life or in the
No, just in my headset, whatever.
Yeah, people have it worse.
It's fine. It's fine. It's okay.
All right, so
You don't need them both. That's why you have two.
You got 2 ears. Will Brinson at 4 p.m. Wayne McKinney in the 4 o'clock hour from San Diego State. Eric Olen, head coach at UCSD, will join us at 4:30. We'll give away those Aztec tickets for tomorrow night coming up in the next 10 minutes. But right now, let's get to this.
It's time for The Wrap, presented by Sombrero Mexican Food. Check out their website at sombreromex.com.
What's the biggest surprise in the initial college football playoff rankings?
Oh,
they haven't come out yet.
I don't know what the initial
John's
surprise
got an
would be.
insider tip, apparently.
The biggest surprise is that they're not out.
Surprise.
Surprise. We'll talk about that later in the show because they're coming out in the next 30 minutes. Yeah. Next question.
Is tomorrow a must-win game for San Diego State's men's basketball team?
Well, yeah, you can't lose your home opener to UCSD. Come on, what are we doing here?
It is a very important game when you consider Gonzaga blew out Baylor last night.
That game was,
number 8 Baylor lost by 39 or something.
And all everyone's talking about is Mark Few's kid getting absolutely
posterized,
destroyed.
Yeah, he's a walk-on. He came on late. They were up 40, and he was dunked on like ridiculously.
It was the highlight of the night.
But Gonzaga is really, really good. You have Gonzaga, Creighton, Oregon, maybe Alabama or Houston and Las Vegas. Like, you got a really tough schedule. In order to have an at-large resume, you have to hold serve at home against programs like UCSD, which, by the way, is a very quality program. They won 21 games last year in the Big West. You got to beat UCSD. You need to beat San Diego, USD. So they have those opportunities at home. Yes, from an at-large resume perspective, as kind of stupid as it is, it's opening night, like you have to win. Yeah, you got to beat UCSD to have, to start your resume off on the right foot.
Yep.
Simple as that. Next
Simple
question.
as that.
How many games will the Chiefs lose in the regular season?
It's a great question.
In the regular season,
they're not going to lose more than one in the postseason.
No, because
that would be a record.
Right.
All right, so the remaining schedule is the Broncos, Bills, Panthers, Raiders, Chargers, Browns, Texans, Steelers, Broncos again. Oh, they're losing at least 3 games.
At least 3.
At least 3. I could see them losing to the Steelers in Week 17. I could see them losing
the Bills
to the Bills on the road. Yep. I could see them falling to either the Chargers or the Texans. I'm going to say 3 at least. They're 8-0 and they're looking for a three-peat. But I don't know, man. I don't feel like the Chiefs are going to just continue to run through the AFC like they have the last couple seasons. The Bills and the Ravens, even though the Ravens lost them on opening night this year, I think will be extremely tough matchups for them to get over the hump again.
How about this? Of their 8 wins, 6 of them are by 7 points or less. This Kansas City team, known for their offense under Andy Reid, has 6 one-possession wins. They're only non-one-possession wins at San Francisco.
Oh, nice.
And at home against New Orleans by 13. So they've been in close games. And also, they have no gaudy scoring output all year, Jim. They have not scored more than 28 points in any game. And they're 8-0. So I'm with you. I think they'll lose 3 times in the regular season. I think they're susceptible.
If they win another freaking Super Bowl
against the Niners,
I swear, dude.
What are you going to do? Move?
I already hate the Chiefs like a lot.
What do the Chiefs ever do to you? Just win.
Caused me a lot of anger. That's what they've done.
All right. Next question.
What was the best NFL trade deadline move?
Speaking of the Saints, John, Marshawn Lattimore was traded today to the Washington Commanders. To me, I'll say that's the biggest move. It kind of signals that the Commanders are going for it, or they feel like they have a really good team to go for it and push the limits here. Helps their defense out a lot. Jaden Daniels has been sensational this year. So I'm going to go with Marshawn Lattimore.
It's DeAndre Hopkins. He's the biggest deadline acquisition. He had 8 catches last night.
I was looking at today, but
that's like saying that, Luis
I was thinking today too.
Okay. Just today?
I get it.
Okay,
I understand.
this is what, a week ago?
The best trade, because he's been there for what, 3 weeks?
He's played 2 games.
He's been there 2 weeks. So
okay, but if you want to say today, that's fine. I don't even know how many moves there were today. Were there a lot today?
Mike Williams got traded to the Steelers.
Okay.
You had Zadarius Smith was a big one, traded to the Detroit Lions to fill the hole of Aiden Hutchinson.
What do you feel about the Cowboys acquiring Panthers wide receiver Jonathan Mingo?
Well, their season's over, and that's a good pickup for Trey Lance too. So
okay,
yeah. No, the Cowboys are completely done, like beyond done. How they didn't sell off a lot of pieces today is beyond me. It just proves the point once again that Jerry Jones is way past his time and needs to go.
Does anyone sell off pieces? I'm looking at the NFL trade deadline right now. There's not that much selling off in the NFL compared to Major League Baseball. By and large, there could be a move.
So the Browns, Zadarius Smith, getting a high draft pick there.
Okay.
So Marshawn Lattimore. I'm not saying sell off by trading away 5 or 6 pieces.
Right.
But,
Okay.
And actually, you're right. I don't know what the Cowboys would have had because Micah Parsons is injured.
Right.
You're not trading CeeDee Lamb.
No.
And you're not trading
big
Dak.
Money's tied up.
Those are only 3 good players in that team. You could have traded who's the cornerback? Trayvon Diggs.
Okay.
The D's nuts guy.
Yeah.
to the reporter.
That was amazing.
You could have traded him off
mm-hmm.
for maybe a 5th or 6th round pick, but you didn't. You decided to add. So I understand the whole selling off thing, but when you trade away like a player of the caliber of Marshawn Lattimore or Zadarius Smith, like you can get at least a 4th or 5th round pick back that could turn into a really good player.
Yeah, it's interesting because when you think about NFL trade deadlines, they used to say the NFL doesn't have moves like the NBA or Major League Baseball.
You're not trading a quarterback in the middle of the season, like a starting quarterback.
You're right. Not a starting quarterback. You're right. Like an ace could move in Major League Baseball that could impact the postseason race. But you look at the wide receivers that moved prior to the deadline this year, or you look at some of the recent moves in, the last 3 to 5 years. Like there have been significant moves in the NFL, but I feel as if people don't cover the NFL trade deadline like they cover Major League Baseball's trade deadline. Don't you feel that way? Like it seems to me to be like not as dominant of a story like it is in baseball, the trade deadline.
Because the rumors aren't as crazy like they are in baseball.
Yeah.
Baseball, you're like former Cy Young Award winners on the, potentially on the move, an all-star player on the move.
Imagine a quarterback for quarterback flip on good teams at a deadline.
Like Tua for
Purdy.
Purdy.
I mean, seriously, imagine something of real significance. Not Mahomes, but like the 9th best quarterback in the league for the 12th best quarterback.
Like Tua and it's traded for Geno Smith and a draft pick.
Yeah. I mean, it doesn't happen.
No.
So that's the difference. But in baseball, you can get like Garrett Cole on the move.
But in football, you can get some pieces that can really help you at the trade deadline.
It's true.
Especially on defense. I feel like defense, you see a lot of defensive players moved. You don't see many offensive players move, like running backs. Wide receivers get on the move. It's
tons of them.
To me, it's wide receivers, defensive line, and secondary. Those are the 3. And maybe some O-line help, because there was a couple trades this year for the O-line. If a player goes down in injury, then the team goes out and gets an O-line help. But you never see quarterbacks traded.
Never.
You never see really running backs, like significant running backs traded. Even though I think there was a trade today for a running back. But you get my point. It's not of crazy significance. Like if Derrick Henry was on a bad team, he's not going to get traded at the deadline.
Right. All right, call right now if you want to go to see San Diego State against UCSD tomorrow night at Viejas Arena. We have 2 free tickets for caller 7. Limited tickets maybe available at goaztecs.com. They'll hang a Sweet 16 banner before the game tomorrow night. Caller 7, you are going. 2 free tickets. You can hear the game right here on San Diego Sports 760. The number to call, 877-767-4760. Caller 7, you're going. 877-767-4760. Will Brinson, who was the biggest winner this year at the deadline in the NFL. Will Brinson, our NFL insider, joins us next.
All right, breaking news with the Padres. This update is brought to you by Angelo's Towing. According to Kevin Acey just moments ago, the Padres and Mike Shildt are finalizing a 2-year contract extension that will run through the 2027 year. We'll talk about that coming up later on the show. The college football playoff rankings are moments away from being announced. Oregon is the number 1 team in the country. They will probably be, and most likely, be announced as the number 1 team in the early college football playoff rankings. NBA news of the day: Joel Embiid has been suspended 3 games for his altercation in the locker room with a reporter. And tomorrow night, San Diego State starts their basketball season against UC San Diego, 7 p.m. tip-off. You can listen to that game right here on San Diego Sports 760. Stuck on the road, Angelo's Towing is here for you 24/7 with over 20 years of experience offering towing and roadside services. For friendly, fast service, call Angelo's Towing at 619-702-8888 or visit angelostowing.com today.
All right, San Diego and Southern California, what's going on? Very busy hour. Jim just mentioned it. Mike Shildt has gotten a 2-year extension through 2027. We'll react to that. Plus, the NFL trade deadline has come and gone. And we'll talk about that. And we're through about the halfway point of the NFL season as well. And Will Brinson, kind enough to once again join us, senior NFL writer for CBS Sports, back with us on Jon and Jim. Will, we always appreciate this. Might be a lazy question, so I'll ask it anyway. Is there a, just in general, not today in the deadline, but over this trade deadline season, is there a clear-cut winner for you at the deadline in the NFL? And thanks for hopping on.
Yeah, of course. Always pumped to be on with you guys. I said making sure he wasn't on mute accidentally. Yeah, look, historic day for the country, right?
Yeah, the CFP rankings, right?
Yeah, a couple minutes from now, the
we're excited.
entire country is going to change.
That's right. Yeah, I mean, I really thought the Lions won big. It just in terms of you get Zarius Smith, like, because the more you watch this team and just sort of like dovetail in with how they played this past weekend, you know, they hadn't had the outdoor game all year, and they only have one more at Chicago. I think, you know, like after Thanksgiving. But I mean, there's at least a little concern that Jared Goff, who hasn't always been an elite outdoor quarterback, you know, might go in there against the Packers at relatively full strength. Jordan Love coming back, you know, surprisingly lucky again in terms of injury, and they just wouldn't be the same team. And like, they're just tough as nails. And the more I watch them, the more I just think they're the best team in football right now. I mean, obviously that changes when we talk about Patrick Mahomes in the playoffs with the bye and home field advantage. But right now, the Lions look like the best roster top to bottom and just really complete. And then so you go in and add that pass rusher that you need. When you lose Aiden Hutchinson, of course. So and then the obvious loser to me is the Cowboys, right? I mean, if that was the follow-up, I don't know. I just wanted to,
yeah, I mean, that was
Cowboys
probably
are always the losers.
Yeah, just in general, or like Jim was saying earlier, should they have sold off more than they were able to?
But they didn't just sell off. They gave a 4th-round pick for Jonathan Mingo.
Right,
it doesn't make any sense.
Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
I mean, you look at all, it's like you could have gone and gotten, I mean, pay $8 million to get Derrick Henry, but trade a third. Obviously, they probably weren't on, you know, Devontae Adams' list or preferred list. But I mean, yeah, if you give them a 3rd-round pick, you could at least get the conversation started about, you know, bring back Amari Cooper. I don't know. I mean, they paid more for Jonathan Mingo than they got for Amari Cooper when they traded him to Cleveland. And like, I think Mingo has gotten a bad deal with offensive coordinators and stuff, but yeah, I mean, his profile is not great. Massive drop rate, you know, had issues coming out of college in that sense too. And then to top it all off, Dak's going on IR.
Right.
Dak is going to miss at least 4 games. You're staring up at the Commanders and the Eagles, and you have to be thinking this might not be our year. So the one thing we can't do is trade draft picks that might end up being in the top 5 or top 10, of whatever round it is. And you definitely can't do it for a questionable prospect, even if you liked him coming out of college. It's wild what they did today.
Yeah, no, it's a disaster. And I don't think there's any surprise there because the Cowboys, for the last couple seasons, like what are they doing? Like, what? So yeah, we'll see what happens there. Last night, Will, Chiefs remain undefeated. We were talking about earlier in the show, how many games do you think they lose this year? Like, is this going to be another thing where they just roll through the playoffs, or do you think that they have a chance here to maybe slip up and not win their third straight Super Bowl?
Well, I think the Super Bowl thing is up for grabs. A couple of things on this. One, just like, we talk about, in the NFL, injuries happen all the time. I swear, I think I've seen Patrick Mahomes suffer what I thought was he's done for a couple of weeks injury at least 3 times. You remember that goal line quarterback sneak against I think it was against the Broncos in Mile High, where his ankle's sticking out. And you're like, well, this is a problem. And he's played the next week or something. Maybe we got 2 games of Chad Henne, but he didn't miss much time. He suffers that injury, and my group chats were blowing up Mahomes is done, and he didn't miss a snap.
He's fine.
It's and I think the second point I would make is, and I don't like to say this in San Diego, but realize it comes from a heartfelt place, because I dealt with it too as a faraway Chargers fan who was along with everyone in Raleigh who was rooting for Phillip Rivers. Does this not feel like some crappy the crappy version of a Patriots team that still managed to just put together a ton of wins, find their way into that 1 or 2 seed, get some home field advantage with a lucky break in the playoffs, and you weren't great throughout the entire regular season, and you suffered a ton of injuries, and you were rolling out Rashae Caldwell at wide receiver, but lo and behold, you have the best quarterback in football, / maybe the best quarterback ever, and then the best coach in football / I don't know. How many reasons Andy Reid need to win before we have the conversation? He's the best ever. So it's it just feels very Patriots-esque to me. And that's what they are. They've won 3 or 4, they 2 straight. They just kind of feel inevitable at the end of the day. And that's why I don't understand Todd Bowles not going for 2.
Ridiculous. Made no sense.
Do you think if he does, let's just say they go for 2 there and get it, because there was a lot of chatter as well. Well, 27 seconds.
It's a lot of time.
Is it or not? What do you think? 27 seconds, those conditions last night, how would you feel watching from afar the Chiefs at 27 seconds? How well positioned are they in that spot?
Well, that's the thing too, is if you were going to call the timeout with 30 seconds left on 1st and goal, which you really shouldn't have done because you were giving the Chiefs as much time as possible, you damn sure better as well go for it. Because if you don't go for the 2, you were literally saying just get. They could have been really close if Hopkins catches that last ball, they weren't on the same page. But you're a 9-point dog missing your 2 best receivers. You cobbled together a great game plan. You've got Baker Mayfield out there who has some big onions. Throw it on his back and go for 2. Don't call a timeout. And that's why the Bucs. I think Todd Bowles is a good coach. I don't know that he's I think he just has pretty obvious flaws, and that he's hyper conservative, and he should be leaning into this offense more than he is, mostly in the defense. So I think that's you go for 2 every time in that situation. Is that kind of dog with the losses you dealt against the best quarterback in football. It's just ridiculous.
Speaking of going for 2, Nick Sirianni is obsessed going for 2. Is he trying to actively get himself fired? What is happening? I know they won, and I know they're a good team, but it feels like Nick Sirianni is making some moves that the team is overcoming in spite of him.
Yeah, it doesn't feel like the guy at the party who the last time there was a party, it's a party with parents and stuff, and the last time there was a party with parents and stuff, he's known for doing the stupid thing, and he's stop drawing attention to yourself.
Right.
Just if you just be low key for a hot minute, people and win football games, and I get it, it's part that's coaching. Coaching is like that. The team takes on their identity, but it feels a little Jim Schwartzy or Jim Harbaugh-y, but Harbaugh wins, right? Harbaugh just wins everywhere he goes. And he's even dialed it back. So it's I think a good lesson would be from someone like Jim Harbaugh, who is much less animated than he was on the sidelines when he was a younger coach, and as such just becomes a much smaller lightning rod. And granted, I mean, like San Francisco, LA, I mean, I guess different, spots, but like, nobody's like a lightning rod with Harbaugh anymore. Everyone just loves him because he's not as like insane. And he's just funny, right? And I think that like Sirianni could probably learn something from that. But the Eagles are playing good football. They got a young secondary. It's coming together, getting better. I think Hurts, when he's got all his weapons out there, can play enough to go win a Super Bowl. We've seen that. And Saquon Barkley looks like one of the best free agent pickups, despite what they paid for a running back in the market.
On Barkley for a moment, the moves he makes. I mean, obviously he's always been known for it. He's been a hurdler since he was like 17. But yeah, the behind the back, like where does that?
Those two buttons fast enough to do that.
Yeah, like where does that rank among like great individual tailback plays? Like you always see like the Barry Sanders plays, and I don't know. In this world, there's so many highlights that are available in an instant. But that one does feel kind of special and unique, doesn't it?
Yeah, because I can't think of anyone that would
try
a spin around the defender and think, I'm going to jump over backwards with whatever's exposed, and no knowledge of what is behind me, right?
Yeah.
I mean, like, you're begging to take a hit and get just. I mean, and he just went over it. You sort of wish that had been the last defender he run in for a touchdown, because it'd be an all-time highlight. But you watch the sideline clips of the Eagles players reacting, and when players who are that good at what they do, like that elite level athletes, freaking out the way that like we all freaked out at home watching it,
right.
It tells you all you need to know.
In 30 seconds, just like a hunch play, will Saquon Barkley as a tailback? Like, is he like a trending towards Hall of Fame tailback based on his career to this point, or no?
I would say no. Derrick Henry, yes, obviously.
Yep.
He's thinking about the best backs, and McCaffrey probably too. But I would say no on Barkley now. He needs to put together another chunk of seasons and be sort of the fulcrum point for a really good offense.
Yeah, 6,000 career rush yards. He's still only 27 years of age. But yeah, just thinking about that. All right, Will, we appreciate it. We'll do it again next week. We're nearing the midway point here of the regular season. We appreciate you hopping on.
Thanks, Will.
Hey, see you next week, boys.
All right, look forward to it. Will Brinson, brought to you by Humboldt Casino, 7 restaurants, thrilling games, and a sports pub voted San Diego's best. Humboldt Casino is fun above all else. San Diego State will play UCSD tomorrow night at Viejas Arena. We have you covered. Wayne McKinney III, Aztec transfer from USD, joins us next. UCSD head coach Eric Olen will join us at 4:30. We've got the initial CFP rankings coming out right now. Mike Shildt reportedly getting a 2-year contract extension. Everything's happening in San Diego sports. Stay with us. All right, speaking of San Diego State, tomorrow night it gets underway officially. Viejas Arena right here on San Diego Sports 760. We can't wait. San Diego State, UCSD, Wayne McKinney III, San Diegan, grew up here, went to USD, has transferred to the Mesa. With us right now, Jon and Jim, San Diego Sports 760. First of all, Wayne, appreciate your time, and I know you're looking forward to it, so thanks for hopping on.
No, thank you so much for having me. Yes, I'm very excited. It's going to be a good time.
So I think we talked in the offseason, Wayne, and correct me if I'm wrong. I want to say you hadn't played a game at Viejas Arena while you were at USD. Now, you got a chance to play in the exhibition the other night. So what was the experience like for you the other night against San Marcos?
It was such a surreal experience, having such a home crowd there for us. And I know it wasn't even as full as usual, but just having someone there and people in the crowd cheering you on, rooting you on, it just gives you so much energy. It was such a great experience, and I was really excited, and I'm ready to do that all year this year.
Wayne, going into this season, a lot of moving parts, a lot of new faces, including yourself. Reese Waters is down for a little while. What do you anticipate your role to be to start off this season? What do you hope your role? How do you hope your role evolves the entirety of the year?
Just being an all-around guy, whatever it takes for us to get wins, and place me on the court wherever we best succeed. Whether that's placing me on the best defender for a majority of the game, and that may take away from offense, and that'll be okay. Or it's some nights I might have to score a little bit more, whatever helps, and getting steals, deflections, taking charges, whatever the team needs. I'm willing to do anything that we need to win.
Wayne McKinney III with us right now. San Diego State, UCSD, tomorrow night, Viejas Arena at 7 p.m. Pregame coverage on San Diego Sports 760 beginning at 6 p.m. Now, you've played UCSD. I know I was just looking at a box score earlier today. Last year, UCSD, I think at Lion Tree in La Jolla, they beat you 69-63. They gave the Aztecs an incredible game last year at Lion Tree. I think you scored 20-plus last year in that game against UCSD. So you're familiar. What's it going to take tomorrow night to get a win at home?
Just grit. We're going to have to play all 40 minutes. We're going to have to be dialed in, locked in on our game plan, execute on offense, and do whatever it takes, dive on loose balls and all that. It's a really good team over there. They've been developing for a couple of years now. This year they're finally tournament eligible. So it's going to mean even more to them to beat us this year. So we just got to be ready, be dialed in, and do what we do, and come out with a win.
How's it been like for you being coached by Brian Dutcher? You haven't even played a regular game yet, but so far this summer, the coaching staff, your experience here at San Diego State so far, how has that been for you?
It's been amazing. Playing under such a great staff under Coach Dutch. He's helped me so much in terms of, defense, honestly, and offensive. He's telling me to get downhill, how to be a better point guard, what to look for, and what to look for defensively as well. He's just helped me with my IQ in all aspects of the game.
Where do you feel as if, and Wayne McKinney is with us right now, San Diego State senior guard? Obviously, like Jim said, there's been injuries in the preseason, so you haven't really played fully as a team together for a lot, right? Nick Boyd was out. Reese Waters is out. Players have dealt with bumps and bruises. How long will it take for the team to be fully acclimated, so to speak, and, playing at maybe their best basketball? Is that going to take a period of time, or you feel like you're positioned to play well from day one?
Well, the good thing about it is that whether one guy went down, we got another one back. So everybody knows each other's game. And we're all, when everybody gets back together and we all put it together, it's going to be something really special. But as for right now, we still know how Reese plays. When Nick was out, he practiced with us for a few times, and then we got him back. And it's been great to have. So, we might take a little bit of time, getting us all back together, getting in shape, conditioning and all that. And then chemistry-wise, we're perfectly fine. Everybody on the team, we all spend a lot of time together. We all hang out together, and it's such a spectacular group to be around.
A lot of Aztecs fans are wondering what they're going to see from one of your teammates this year, Magoon Guath, because, he has a lot of potential, 7-footer. No one's really seen him on the court yet other than the scrimmage the other night, but being around practice every day and practicing with him, just describe what kind of player he is on the court, what kind of teammate he is to play with.
Type of player, he can do it all. He gets to the rim, has a nice 3-ball, mid-range, 3-level scorer for sure. And then defensively, he has length. He's able to block shots, get deflections, get steals, really mess up our offense. He's very important to our team, and he's going to be a force for years to come. And he has potential to be a really great player.
Wayne McKinney III with us right now. Jon and Jim, San Diego Sports 760. I mentioned it off the top. Out of Coronado High School, played at the University of San Diego. Now across town to San Diego State. How much pride do you take in being out of San Diego? Because there's not a ton of Division I men's basketball student athletes out of San Diego, and here you are out of San Diego playing at San Diego State.
I take a lot of pride in that. I love the city I'm from, and I rep it everywhere I go. So being that I've never left the city and throughout my college play, it means the most to me. Every game I'm putting on for San Diego, and I just want to keep doing that.
What's your adrenaline level going to be like tomorrow night? Is that something you need to harness or be aware? I mean, right? Because it's gonna be crazy. It's gonna be full. You're playing at Viejas. You're wearing a different uniform. You're playing another team in the city. Like, how do you manage all that, or do you need to?
I think it's good to have that adrenaline level, especially going into games like that. Also knowing how to tame it and when to release it. Not going out and being too buck wild, but going out and playing aggressive and smart. It's a very important game for us, and it's a very important game for them. This is really the ownership of the crown of the city. So everybody wants to come in there and do what they can in order to get the win. And for me, the adrenaline level would be nothing but to do whatever it takes and go out there to get wins.
San Diego State, UCSD, season opener, banner raising night. The Aztecs will put a Sweet 16 banner into the rafters after last year and open up the 2024-25 season tomorrow night at 7 p.m. right here on San Diego Sports 760. Wayne, we're thrilled for you. We're excited for tomorrow night, and we'll catch up with you again soon, all right?
Thanks, man.
All right, thank you so much for having me.
All right, great stuff. Coronado product, Wayne McKinney III.
Yeah, I can't wait to see what his role is going to develop into this year. Is he going to be that scorer off the bench? Is he going to be put in the starting role? And that's why he's so valuable to his team, because he's like, you can put him anywhere. Off the bench, put him in the starting spot. And it's going to be fun to watch.
Nick Boyd and Miles Bird met with the media yesterday and said that his pull-up jumper, they both describe as a layup. Because they absolutely love his mid-range game. When he pulls up for that 15 to 17 footer, which is kind of like a San Diego State throwback shot, right? That is Wayne McKinney's shot. All right, speaking of tomorrow night, let's catch up with UCSD's head coach, Eric Olen. He's done an amazing job. I think his 12th season now. They're now Division I postseason eligible. They nearly beat the Aztecs at Lion Tree Arena in La Jolla last year. They'll be at Viejas tomorrow night. Let's learn about the Titans on the other side. We have Aztec tickets to give away. Mike Shildt has a 2-year contract extension as well. It's Jon and Jim. All right, so what if you could be debt-free by this January, get rid of all that high-interest debt, pay off all your credit cards, consolidate everything into one lower payment? Hey, guys, it's Schaefer. If you're ready to stop stressing over bills, you need to call Loan Pronto right now. With rates at their lowest in 2 years, this is the perfect chance to use your home's equity and save big. Going into the new year, Loan Pronto has rates with APRs in the low fives, and they're getting homeowners hundreds of thousands out of their home's equity. Homeowners who do this save on average $850 a month. Loan Pronto offers a ton of options, including total refis or their express equity lines of credit. So call now. Get a rate quote in just minutes with no hard credit pull, no upfront fees like those other guys. Call today. You won't make a house payment until 2025. LoanPronto.com or 619-207-4336. That's LoanPronto.com. Free rate quotes at 619-207-4336. Equal housing lender, NMLS 1661781. On approved credit, NMLS, consumeraccess.org.
This update is brought to you by Angelo's Towing. Breaking news about 30 minutes ago, Kevin Acee reported that the Padres and Mike Shildt are finalizing a 2-year contract extension through the 2027 season. We'll talk about that coming up later in the show. San Diego State starts their basketball season tomorrow night against UC San Diego at Viejas Arena, 7 p.m. tip-off. You can listen to that right here on San Diego Sports 760. NBA news of the day: Joel Embiid has been suspended 3 games for his altercation in the locker room with a reporter. The GM meetings are underway in Texas. Of course, the top free agents for the Padres this year are Jerkson Profar and Ha-Sung Kim. Stuck on the road, Angelo's Towing is here for you 24/7 with over 20 years of experience offering towing and roadside services. For friendly, fast service, call Angelo's Towing at 619-702-8888 or visit angelostowing.com.
All right, so tomorrow night you can hear San Diego State, UCSD right here on San Diego Sports 760. We have another pair of tickets we'll give away later this hour. And we're pleased to be joined by UCSD head coach Eric Olen. We always talk about culture and the winning history in 25 years. Eric Olen's been at UCSD for 20 years. Longtime assistant, now longtime head coach. He's done a marvelous job. 21 wins last year in the Big West. Now postseason eligible after reclassifying to Division I. So, Eric, first of all, thanks for hopping on here today.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
So did you know that you would get another crack at the Aztecs this quickly? You had played that 3-game series, a couple of games at Viejas, last year at Lion Tree, an incredible game that San Diego State pulled out late with the Jaden Ledee putback. After that night, were you hoping for another opportunity, even if it was at Viejas Arena? Did you know it would come the next year?
Well, I mean, obviously we all just kind of focused on our season from there, but you know, we've got a long relationship with Dutch and the staff over there, and they've always been great and easy to work with. So scheduling is a lot about things lining up and dates and things like that. So, you know, I certainly felt like we would play them again at some point. We're hoping that it's something we could continue to do on an annual basis. But you know, each time we just kind of go through the process and see what works each year. So yeah, we were glad that it worked out again this year, but we'll kind of go through it again next year and see if we can make it keep happening.
How does your team look this year in your eyes compared to last year's team?
Different. I mean, I think everybody's different these days, year to year. We have 3 returning players who were significant contributors from last year's team. So that's kind of a nice core. And then we got some new guys that we think are really going to help us. So I think we're different in a lot of ways. A little more shooting in the front court, maybe a little less athleticism in the front court, maybe a little better perimeter defense, hopefully. So different, but I think our ceiling is higher. I think if we can reach our best basketball, we have a chance to be a little bit better than last year. So we'll see. We're working hard at it.
Eric Olen is with us right now. He is UCSD's head coach. I mentioned earlier they're postseason eligible in Division I. I guess I'll start with this. What was the reclassification period like? Because it's a long time in the NCAA. It takes 4 seasons to do it. You're now through that. Like, what were your goals going through that process to position your team to get it to where it is today?
Yeah, it was long. I mean, it's a long transition period, and I think the NCAA is actually going to change that rule and shorten that period in the future, which I think is the right thing to do. 4 years is almost punitive. So it was a long time, but our goals were kind of the same. Like from an approach standpoint, it didn't change very much. You know, we talk about getting better and working towards our best basketball and focusing on our process and not worrying too much about results. And you know, there's certainly an evolution. I think it took us a couple of seasons at least to kind of figure out, okay, there's a new league and then new opponents, and what are the things that we had success with before that we need to keep and build on, and what are the things that we maybe need to adjust. So from that standpoint, I thought we learned a lot over the first couple of seasons, and kind of culminating in a pretty good season last year. And I think we're now at a place where we know who we are and who we want to be at Division I in the Big West. Like, I think we have a very good feel for what that looks like and what we're trying to build. and it's similar to what we were doing and having a lot of success with that Division II, but there's definitely some things we've had to adjust. And so that period did give us a chance to learn a lot about ourselves and evaluate and try to improve and kind of find our niche at this level. So we feel like we've done that pretty well, and we know what we're trying to do and who we're trying to be now.
I hate to go back to last year's game against San Diego State, the tip in there by Ledee to win it and to walk off for San Diego State. But as far as the atmosphere of that game and the intercity rivalry that we're talking about here, just how was that experience to see, you go in, one-on-one against San Diego State, and how close of a game it was, and how this intercity rivalry is building, with games like that being as competitive and close as it was last year?
Yeah, I mean, from an atmosphere standpoint, that was as good as it gets for us. My office kind of looks out over the field and the front entrance to the arena. And before I went downstairs for that game, the line of students was like down the walkway, down the street, like hundreds of yards long. Like, so that part was pretty cool to just see, just going downstairs before the game, like, thousands of students who couldn't even get in the building. So like, atmosphere wise, second to none. Certainly helped us perform in the game. You mentioned rivalry there a couple times. Like, we got to continue to do our part to make that a rivalry. Right. One competitive game I don't think qualifies as a rivalry, but like we're working to get better, and I think if we can do our part and continue to elevate our program, that's something that we would love to create going forward. And San Diego State is terrific for basketball in San Diego in general, and our community and basketball community, because they set the bar so high. They give us something to chase and push us to get better all the time. So, we're just excited about that opportunity. And yeah, like it was a great environment. Obviously a disappointing result for us, but still a good performance at the same time. And, on our end, we're going into this next game and we think about like, oh, it's easy to think about last year's game, but we only have two guys that played significant minutes in last year's game, or actually played in last year's game, who are going to play tomorrow night. Yeah. And I think that San Diego State only has one.
Same way. Yeah, exactly.
So, we will go back and watch the film and prepare. And I know their staff is doing the same thing, but we're very different. They're very different. You can only take so much from last year. I think this will be an entirely different event, and hopefully we can find some ways to have success and give ourselves a chance tomorrow night.
UCSD head coach Eric Olen with us again. Aztecs Tritons tomorrow night, 7 p.m. at Viejas Arena. So speaking of a new look San Diego State, and again, there's not a lot of film, but they did play a scrimmage obviously against San Marcos the other night. You've got familiarity with someone like Wayne McKinney III, who we just had on, who played you last year. You beat him at Lion Tree when he was at USD. Nick Boyd's added from FAU. They've added a lot, like most teams in the country, including your own team. What are your expectations? What do you expect to see from San Diego State tomorrow night?
Yeah, they look, to me, when I watch them right now, like their activity, their speed really jumps out at you. I thought last year's group was super physical, with obviously Jaden Ledee as physical a player as there was in the country. Elijah Saunders was a physical player. I think Lamont Butler brings a lot of physicality to the guard position. And that's not to say that this group isn't physical. But, when you look at like Miles Bird and BJ Davis and Guaf, like they're built a little different. They're more length, a little thinner. So like just a little bit different from that standpoint. But that really jumps off the screen to me is just that length and activity level. Where last year it felt like slow is the wrong word to describe last year's team, but they just felt a little more physical and a bigger influence on like really just pounding the ball inside to Ledee.
Before you go, how much of a factor is playing at Viejas? I know you've coached there before. Obviously, San Diego State's wanted a great clip historically in the building. Like when you play on the road in tough environments, which you're going to do in the non-conference, which you've done previously at San Diego State, like what's the hurdle that has to be overcome when you're playing in a hostile building?
I think it's just about settling in and trying to get comfortable because it's not like, it's not like many environments just on the West Coast in general. It's one of the best home court advantages in the country. It was something, we talked about our environment earlier and us benefit from that. Like, the Aztecs benefit from Yejas and the environment that they built there. So it really, is really just about players kind of getting to the point where they're just playing the game and none of the external factors are impacting them, and so you hope that happens sooner rather than later and we can just kind of focus on playing basketball. But, the home court advantage is a real thing and they got a great one and it's up to us to deal with it.
Eric, we're looking forward to it. Congratulations again on your successes to this point at UCSD. Really a 20-year run to this point to get to Division I, now postseason eligible in the Big West, opening with the Aztecs at Viejas Arena tomorrow night at 7 p.m. A game you can hear right here on San Diego Sports 760. And, Coach, we appreciate your time. Best of luck this season, and we hope to connect with you again soon, all right?
Yeah, sounds great. 20 years making me feel old. But
yeah, dude, you're younger than me, actually. How old are you? You're still –
I'm 44.
44.
So
I'm 44.
Yeah.
Okay.
Spent my whole professional career, but it's been a blessing for me, and I certainly appreciate the longevity. And thanks for having me on, guys. It's been a pleasure.
Yeah, absolutely.
Appreciate
Best of luck with the season, Eric Olen. We're both 44. He could do the show. I could do his job.
Except he's coaching a Division I basketball program, and you're
working with you.
With me.
Exactly.
How's that make you feel?
Jealous.
Oh, okay.
Very jealous. All right. On the other side, your chance to win tickets for tomorrow night. Trainwreck Radio. It's trivia. Who wants tickets for tomorrow night? San Diego State, UCSD. It's going to be an incredible atmosphere. Sweet 16 banner going up into the rafters. If you want 2 free tickets, now is your chance. Call 877-767-4760. First 2 callers will be contestants. Call right now, 877-767-4760. We'll play trivia. Someone's going to win those 2 free tickets for tomorrow night. You need to call right now, 877-767-4760. Plus at 5 p.m., Mike Shildt reportedly has a 2-year extension with the Padres to manage through 2027. What does it mean? Stay with us on Jon and Jim. Shildt has a 2-year contract extension for 2027. Reportedly, from Kevin Acey, our Padres insider, could be announced as soon as tomorrow. The Padres, with that coming up we'll react to that coming up in the 5 o'clock hour. Right now, we're playing for San Diego State UCSD basketball tickets for tomorrow night. Let's play.
All right, 3 questions, 2 contestants, 1 lifeline. Today's 2 contestants, we have Max and we have Kenneth. Max, you called in first, so you have your choice of Jon or Jim. Who do you want to go with?
I think I'm 3-0 with Jon, so I'll go with Jon.
All right. I like it. 3-0.
Jon, Max, Kenneth, you get Jim, okay? Kenneth, you there? Oh, Kenneth.
Kenneth, are you there?
Awesome. Yep. Sorry. Awesome.
Okay.
All right, cool. Brent, what's the question of the day?
All right, guys, today's question. There are 10 players currently in the NBA that are averaging 27 or more points per game to start the season. So today's question, name any of those 10 players in the NBA that are currently averaging 27 or more points per game.
All right, Kenneth, you're up first. What's your first guess? You do have a lifeline if you want to use it.
Anthony Davis.
Anthony Davis on the list. Max, your first guess. You do have a lifeline if you want to use it.
Oh, geez, basketball already. Let me see. Embiid.
Who was that?
Who was that?
Embiid.
Embiid.
Right?
Embiid.
He hasn't played a single game yet, and he just got suspended 3 games.
Kenneth, back to you. What's your second guess? Do you have a lifeline if you want to use it?
Brunson.
Brunson.
Knicks.
No. Jalen Brunson, not on the list. Max, back to you. What's your second guess? You do have a lifeline if you want to use it.
I'm going to go with, I get him confused, the Joker.
The Joker.
Okay. Nikola Jokic.
Wow. On the list. There we go.
All
right. Kenneth, what is your final guess? You do have a lifeline if you want to use it.
Luka Doncic.
Luka Doncic. On the list.
Okay.
Meaning, Max, you need to get this right to send this thing to overtime. You do have a lifeline. What are you going to do?
I'm going to go with the lifeline, Jon, to keep me in the game.
Nah.
Okay. I mean, I've been watching a lot of NBA this October or whatever month it is now, November. Hold on. Let me think of people that play in the league. I mean, LeBron James plays in the league.
He does.
But AD's on that list. They have 2
start,
players.
You can't just start naming
I can start talking.
You can't start naming off players to think
stop
out loud.
filibustering, Jon.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's fair.
Filibustering.
That's fair. I'm going to go with LeBron. Yeah, this is a dumb guess.
You already said?
I'm going to go with LeBron James.
LeBron James, you take
but
that?
I don't really trust it.
You take that or have another guess?
I am going to not take that.
Okay.
Smart.
Can I save it? If I don't take it, can I use the lifeline again?
No, you have to. That's your lifeline.
This is the last guess.
So
anyway.
Now it's up to you. If you're not going to take that lifeline, you gotta guess here.
Well, he filibustered. Great word for today for a while. So I'm gonna take it. I'm going with Jon. I'm gonna take it.
LeBron James.
Hey,
you moron,
my
you
gosh.
idiot. You don't know anything about basketball or the NBA. Stupid.
Kevin Durant?
Yeah, that would have been a correct answer.
Jason Tatum on the list?
Yeah, that also would have been a correct answer. LeBron is 27th. He's only just under 22 a game.
Embiid?
He hasn't even played yet.
I know.
Paul Pierce?
And he's suspended 3 games right away when he comes back for pushing that reporter.
All right, who's on the list?
All right, 80's number 1 with 32.6. Then Giannis. Nobody named him. Then Tyrese Maxey, Jason Tatum, the Joker, Doncic, LaMelo Ball is number 7. Then Dame Lillard is 8. Anthony Edwards is 9, and KD is 10.
Where's Bronny?
Brunson was 11th.
Bronny?
Let's see.
28th.
He hasn't played enough minutes to qualify for anything.
Because he has like 2 points. Does he have more than that, Jim? Because he scored, but does he have more than 2 points?
No, that's it.
He
scored 1 field goal, yeah.
All right.
He's only played in 2 games.
Yeah,
okay. So he's averaging a point per game.
Yeah, he made his appearance in Cleveland, and now I think he's going down to the G League.
Actually made an appearance, I think, against
He's made 3
the
appearances.
Pistons for like 7 seconds.
Yeah.
Or he made an appearance versus one team for, no joke, I kid you not, 7 seconds.
So he's still up, we're saying. He's not in the G League.
He's still up, yeah.
Okay.
And if you went to the G League, it would have been all over my timeline for some reason.
Wait, he's played in a few games.
Yeah, 3.
Yeah, like one.
He's currently averaging 0.7 points, 0.3 rebounds, 0.7 assists, and he's shooting 25%.
Hey, that's better than all of us.
It's a little better than us. It is. All right, congratulations. You're winning those tickets to see San Diego State, UCSD tomorrow night, Viejas Arena, 7 p.m. Pregame coverage begins at 6 p.m. Ted Leitner on the call right here on San Diego Sports 760. All right, full reaction in the final hour of Jon and Jim to Mike Shildt reportedly getting a 2-year contract extension, not through 2026, but through 2027. He was under contract through 2025. So he's now under contract longer than AJ Preller is with the organization, we believe.
Interesting.
Through 2027. We will react to that on the other side. Plus, you'll hear from Brian Dutcher in the 5 o'clock hour. Mike Shildt has a 2-year contract extension. That's next on Jon and Jim.
All right, this update is brought to you by Angelo's Towing. The breaking news of the day: the Padres are on the verge of signing Mike Shildt to a 2-year contract extension, according to our Padres insider Kevin Acee. He says that the extension could be announced as early as tomorrow, as the GM meetings are underway in Texas. College football playoff picture has been released. Oregon is the number 1 team in the country. They are on top of the college football playoff rankings. Boise State is in there as the 12 seed. We'll go over the full rankings here coming up later. And NBA news of the day: Joel Embiid has been suspended 3 games for his altercation in the locker room with a reporter. Stuck on the road, Angelo's Towing is here for you 24/7 with over 20 years of experience offering towing and roadside services for friendly, fast service. Call Angelo's Towing at 619-702-8888 or visit angelostowing.com.
All right, San Diego and Southern California, what's going on? Final hour, Jon and Jim with you until 6 p.m. here tonight. Again, Aztec basketball is tomorrow night. We haven't had full time to react yet to Mike Shildt. Kevin Acee reporting within the hour that Mike Shildt will get what we knew was coming. We just didn't know the terms or the length. He is reportedly getting a 2-year extension. I thought initially he'd get a 1-year extension to lock up the same terms as AJ Preller through 2026, but he's going to be signed, according to Kevin, through 2027. So a 93-win regular season, a series win in the postseason reportedly means Mike Shildt is under contract, not just for the next 2 years, but for the next 3 years, all the way through 2027.
Well, first off, absolutely deserved. I was very critical of Mike Shildt in the first half of the season, and the switch flipped, turned it on. Second half was brilliant. There weren't many on-field decisions that he made in the regular season that we really questioned. It was more or less his tone about his team post-game in press conferences, kind of denying maybe when they were playing bad baseball and trying to jam it down everyone's throats that no, we're playing good. It's like, you just lost 5 in a row, Mike.
Mm-hmm.
Like, stop trying to tell me the sky's green when I know it's blue. Other than that, though, on field, I thought Mike did a really good job in the regular season. There were issues in the postseason in the Dodgers series, definitely, that cost them in game 1 and then in game 4 and 5. But all in all, helped change the culture here, got the team back on track, led the team to 93 wins, really kept that, group in the clubhouse together when last year, 2023, it was awful. So it's definitely deserved. And Mike Shildt's made the postseason, every year almost?
Like four years other than his interim season?
Yeah, other than his interim season. Every full season that Mike Shildt's been a manager in baseball, they've made the postseason.
I'll be honest, knowing the Padres organization and how much turnover there's been in the manager's chair, I'm surprised he got a second year on the extension. I think it speaks to their desire probably to want some consistency, some continuity, maybe have a half-decade manager. They haven't had that in a while. Andy Green was here for how many years? 4?
Oh, he was here for a while, yeah.
So, but I don't know the last time they had a manager beyond 4 years. You're going back to Buddy Black. So you're going back a while. So maybe this speaks to their desire to have some continuity. If you were to switch managers again in the near future, now you're talking 5+ managers. So it is deserved. I didn't think they'd go beyond 2026 because I don't know if there's really a need to go beyond 2026. But now you have a unique situation where the manager has a longer leash than the general manager, potentially, because the GM, to the best of our knowledge, is signed through 2026, and the manager is signed through 2027. That's a little unique.
Yeah, and we won't hear from Eric Kutsenda
until spring training
about the future of AJ and what he's thought about AJ if there's going to be a contract extension. Who's the owner of the team? Who's running things? Who's writing the checks? That's a big question that hasn't fully been answered yet. When Eric Kutsenda took over the day-to-day roles after Peter Seidler passed away, that to me, tell me if I'm wrong, I viewed that always as was an interim thing.
Well, that's what we thought at the time. I agree. That's what I thought at the time.
I didn't think this was going to be
a
Eric
10-year run.
Yeah, he's the owner of the team for the next 10 years.
I thought it was going to be the Seidler family. I thought he was more of a holding the seat, keeping the seat warm.
Because these things take a while. You can't just all of a sudden be boom, we're handing over the new ownership roles. So that's a question that is out there that hasn't been really talked about a lot. But still, when we hear from Eric Kutsenda or whoever in spring training, and he's asked about, hey, if AJ Preller hasn't received a contract extension by then, hey, what's your thoughts on AJ Preller?
Remember we spent
become a little more clear.
Remember last offseason, we spent months on, is Eric Kutsenda a real person? He had one headshot.
One headshot on the entire
internet, which is impossible. He proved to be a real person. And what he said, I thought was pretty significant in spring training, which was everyone's going to be accountable, including AJ Preller. And then AJ Preller backed it up on field. So I think from the organization's perspective, the organization should be high on Preller. I don't think heading into 2025, Preller should be anywhere near any type of hot seat. He should have security. I think heading into 2024 off 23, if things didn't go well, you could have theorized him being out. I don't see it in 2025. I don't go into 2025 oh man, Kutsenda's got to really see a lot from AJ Preller to keep his job. That's not how I see it. Off what he did in 2024, I don't think there's any warm seat for Preller heading into 2025 at all. It's not. It's cold. The seat should be ice cold heading into 2025.
By the way, you can find multiple pictures now of Eric Kutsenda
that's
on
awesome.
the internet, so that's nice.
That's great. Well, people probably took a photo of him in spring training.
A couple photos of him in spring training.
That's wonderful.
He also had a press conference too in front of
Was
cameras.
he wearing a sweater?
He was wearing a sweater.
Yeah, I kind of remember that.
He was wearing a sweater.
It's nice.
I agree with you. The seat is cold. It was hot this past year, but now it's cold. Coming off of the year that he had, the stability that was, formed this season with Mike Shildt.
Mm-hmm.
But also, it definitely could change, and I'm looking at this right now this has got to be a run. We were hoping that the run would have started after 2020. Didn't happen. 2021 happened. We thought the run was going to start after 2022. Didn't happen. Got halted in 2023. You can say, 3 playoff appearances in the last 5 years.
Mm-hmm.
It's great. He's also gone through, 3 different managers then, and as year number 1 with those managers were great. Year number 2 was awful.
Right.
I really don't expect that to be the case here with Mike Shildt. I just don't. I just think that listening to Mike Shildt as much as we have, and knowing he's the biggest optimist you will ever meet in your entire life, I don't envision it going sideways. Could be wrong, but going into year 2, his last 2 managers, that's when things fell apart. I do think that the relationship is better with Mike Shildt. Now, you could say the same thing about Jace Tingler. Their relationship they were tight. They were boys. That caused a rift in the clubhouse. I don't know if that's going to cause a rift in this clubhouse going into next season, but can we please, here in San Diego, please have some consistency with the front office, the front office, the manager, and the clubhouse? Can those 3 things all be in lockstep for more than 1 season?
I'm going to make an assumption based on today's news from Kevin Acee that AJ Preller has been extended. I'm going to make that assumption based on today's news that AJ Preller also has a contract that runs through 2027. I don't know if it was in the terms of his deal. If he reached the postseason a certain number of times, a year would be added. That's often in contracts. But to me, it's very surprising to see a manager's contract extended longer than a general manager's deal. So knowing that Mike Shildt is going to be extended through 2027, to me, leads me down a path to believe AJ Preller has been extended through 2027. I'd be very surprised. The manager has more security than the general manager that oversees the roster for the manager. That's very atypical, not impossible. But I don't imagine that AJ Preller negotiating a contract for manager is making the terms longer than his own deal. Like that doesn't make any sense. So, and we always talked about locking up these two people in the organization, having them on the same terms. And now that Shilt's through 2027, I'd be shocked. We're not going to hear from him until March 1st, but maybe
Right.
we'll hear from someone in the winter meetings. I'd be very surprised if AJ Preller wasn't signed through 2027.
And he deserves it after this past season. He got a contract extension after 2022, if I'm not mistaken,
I
right?
think that's right.
So I think the next logical step is, put him in lockstep with Mike Shildt.
Yep.
Have them be aligned. So you're not having the conversation about manager and GM. Like, look, if one of them fails, they both fail. That's how I view it. If one goes down, the other's going to go down. You can't that's how it's going to be. Is they are tied together here for the foreseeable future. And if one fails, the other will fail. Preller's gotten away with it multiple times now where he's kind of passed the buck on to the manager. The manager's got, the short end of the stick with Jace Tingler and then the whole situation with Bob Melvin, right? And Preller had an immense amount of blame for all of those situations, but he walked away.
Mm-hmm.
He walked away. This is not going to happen again. And I do have faith that it won't, but I've been fooled before because I said the same thing after 2022. I said after 2022, finally, we have some cohesiveness in the organization with Peter, AJ, Bob, and Grupner, right? Those four guys leading the way for this organization. Things change very fast, and that's exactly what happened.
I agree, but I think by extending your manager through 2027, you're allowing it to breathe in 2025. Where, of course, everyone wants them in the postseason and wants them to win a World Series and go through the Dodgers. But even in a off year or a down year, making it up, they go 84 and 78. They're the 6th seed or they miss out. I don't think there's this great panic off that. I think they pause and say, you know what? We guaranteed Shildt through 2027, not 2026. We're not going to make a change off 2025, even if it's slightly disappointing. Same thing with the GM. I think based on what they did in 2024, it's given them a little bit more to breathe with, a little more air in 2025, where they don't have to replicate everything. They don't have to win 93 games. They don't have to win in the postseason. We all want it. But I just feel like they're now saying stability matters more. We're thinking more about 25, 26, 27 than we are about we have to win today at all costs. That's what it looks like to me. That's what it sounds like to me.
Well, you can accomplish both. You can create stability for the foreseeable future, and you can also have the urgency of we need to try to win right now.
True, but if you don't, is my point. If they didn't win in 2024, off with their heads. No pun, not really.
Jeez, John,
dark off the plank. I mean, if they didn't win in 2024,
just kill them. Yeah, off the plank, cut off their heads.
No, that was that other guy. Remember, heads will roll.
Heads will roll. My point is,
Ron
if
Fowler,
in 2024 they went 78 and 84, Preller would have been fired. Shildt would have been fired. Agreed? If they went 78 and 84, we're 10 games out of it.
I think there would have been no other choice.
But now, off last year, I just don't feel as if they'd be as reactionary because of what they did in 2024.
Okay, well, it still stands in my mind. You can't miss the postseason next year.
I think they can, because you said the same thing in 2023, and they did.
And look what happened.
They kept everyone. They kept their GM.
Well, they got rid
of
Bob.
Kept their. No, they didn't actually.
Well, they forced him out.
But you agree they didn't. I mean, AJ Preller then looked like a fool because he had a year-end press conference saying Bob's going to be back.
Right, and then they were perfectly okay with Bob.
True,
leaving.
But I'm saying nobody was forced out.
Right, no, but they didn't make any, I think, effort to be like, nope, sorry, you can't interview with the Giants.
No. But that's not my point is 2023, we're like heads are going to roll. They didn't. 2025, I feel the same way.
2021, heads rolled. Jason are gone. 2023, heads rolled. Well, how so?
How so? What are you talking about?
Bob Melvin.
He was under contract and left for another job. That's not heads rolling.
Well, in my opinion,
he was already back.
Okay, he was back, but they allowed him to leave.
Allowing someone to leave. I mean, Preller could leave too at some point, right? It's not. I mean, that's just how sports work.
We all know that Peter said his preference and his wish was to have Bob return for 2024, and he didn't.
That's because Bob chose not to return, right?
And they allowed him to leave.
Yeah.
So I guess it's not heads roll. You're
It's
guess,
not because he wasn't fired.
I guess technically right, but at the same time, we all know the relationship between him and Bob
Was very icy.
was awful.
But if the Giants never fired whoever they had,
and if Peter didn't say that he wanted Bob back, guess what was going to happen?
yeah, we'll never really know.
But
really know.
we would. I know, like that's what was going to happen.
My point is, they're not. I mean, proven by the organization's recent history, they're not as reactionary as we are.
No,
if they go 82 and 80 next year, there's no guarantee that they change their front office and their manager. Is my point.
Okay, well, just my whole thing is, even if they miss the postseason next year, John, that's still awful.
But do you think they would change their manager if they miss the postseason next year? Now that they've given them through 2027,
it would be something to talk about. Not with the manager, but with the general manager.
Hey, GM, you're gone, but the manager stays. All right, more on this on the other side of Jon and Jim. Hey guys, it is Jon and Jim, and we've told you about our friends over at Hamul Casino, a great spot throughout the football season. Get there every single Monday night, all football season long. You've got chances to win big with Hamul Casino.
Yeah, which 10 winners every hour at 7 p.m., 8 p.m., and 9 p.m. Your odds, they're better than ever. Plus, you can earn entries all month long by playing and getting two-time entries on Tuesdays with at least $500 in cash for all winners and a chance to win up to $25,000 in cash.
You got to get to Tony Gwynn Sports Pub. You'll love it. Great food and drinks. All the games on all their televisions there. They've got great Tony Gwynn Sports memorabilia. They've got great food at Hamul in general, including endless dining 5 nights a week. Their endless dining includes Saturday, a surf and turf buffet. They've gone over the top with great steaks, great seafood, and more.
Yeah, get to Hamul Casino today. Their deck bar, great views, great atmosphere. Tony Gwynn Sports Pub, it's a great place to watch any sporting event that you want. Food is fantastic as well. Hamul Casino, it's fun above all else.
Open the talkback mic. Just open the free iHeart Radio app with the San Diego Sports 760. Little microphone icon next to the play button. Leave a 30-second talkback. Kevin Acey not just reporting a 2-year extension for Mike Shildt, but also reporting he's been working through contracts for most of its baseball operations team and some of its coaching staff as well. Those deals expected to be finalized in the coming days. So Mike Shildt through 2027. Ruben Niebla hopefully returning as well. I mean, it doesn't say Ruben Niebla, but hopefully Ruben Niebla returning as well.
Right. Yeah. You bring back everybody on the coaching side and you would lock up Ruben Niebla for a long-term contract. And yeah, I mean, after this past year, everyone should and probably will get extensions for sure. But, you know, like I said last segment, things change very quickly. And I think next year you have to continue down that path of making the postseason, getting in the tournament, and seeing what happens. If you don't do that, it's a massive step back and it's a massive failure. And then we're kind of back to where we were after the 2023 season of like, what the hell?
No, I would agree with that. I mean, obviously, if they make the postseason in 2025, it doesn't matter what they do in the postseason. I hate to say it. It's true. They don't have to do anything in the postseason. We all want them to win the postseason. They don't have to do anything. Nobody leaves. Nothing changes. And you could argue whether that's good or bad because you say, well, I want Preller eventually to either do this or give someone else the opportunity. But if they make the postseason, you're just retaining, right? Like, so that's the good of it. You're making the postseason. But if you're not winning in the postseason, AJ Preller will be here forever if they're making the postseason 2 out of every 3 years. And also they'll have a chance, hopefully, to make a run if they're in the postseason 2 out of every 3 years.
But we also know, you know, what you want here in San Diego is you want of the next 7 seasons, you know, 5 of those they make the postseason.
Agreed.
Right? And if they don't win a World Series, if they don't make it to a World Series, well, you know, you've seen people be fired for much less. Now, is the standard here different? Is it just like, oh, everybody just have fun and just make the postseason, everything's great, everything's fine?
Well, they've won in the postseason. I mean, the truth is there's a lot of teams that haven't won series in the postseason.
Their slogan is probably, hey, we won a postseason series 3 of the last 5 years.
They won 4. I mean, they actually, to be legitimate, they've won 4 postseason series the last 3 times in, which by organizational standard is absurdly good.
And I hope it doesn't get to this point because that means they will not have won a World Series yet. But if you get to a point where 5 of the next 7 years you make it and you fail and you don't win a World Series,
at some point the expectations go up.
At some point, like with Dave Roberts this past year, if they didn't make the World Series or didn't win a World Series this season, you know how much pressure would have been on Andrew Friedman to get rid of Dave Roberts? If they lost to the Padres in the division round again, oh my God. Dave Roberts, to me, is how could you not fire Dave Roberts at that point?
But you and I know there's extreme differences between the Dodgers organization and the Padres organization. End of sentence.
But also, you've seen teams in baseball make the postseason for multiple years and not get it done, and then change their managers.
Or
change their GMs, or change
just
up
like
whatever.
We've seen teams miss the postseason in baseball multiple years and extend out their managers, like Buddy Black. There's no one exact way that organizations do it.
And I'm sitting here saying that's not have the standard of the Rockies. Does not have the standard of whoever.
But it's not the standard of the Rockies. If they make the postseason 5 of 7 years, that isn't the standard of the Rockies.
No, it's not. But if you fail 5 of 7 years, that's where you're getting to like, are they ever going to get over this hump?
Fail 5 of 7 as in like don't make the postseason or not win.
Like they don't win a World Series in this run of, I guess, you know, prime years for guys like Manny and Bogarts and the guys with the big time contracts. The reason why you signed these guys, you didn't sign these guys just to sell tickets. Maybe you kind of did, but you signed these guys to win a World Series. And if you don't win a World Series in their prime and they're getting around 40 and these contracts are going to look awful, and then you revert back to being a really bad baseball team.
Mm-hmm. So, okay, the theoretical being, so if for the rest of the decade they make the postseason in the next 6 years, 4 of the 6 years, but they don't win a World Series or even get to one. I'll go there. The next 6 years, they make the postseason 4 times.
Mm-hmm. That's great.
Their furthest finish is a National League Championship Series 1 of the next 6 years. The other years, 3 of them, they're in the postseason. They don't make a championship series. At that point, you're moving on from the general manager?
No, I'm just saying, like, the questions will be like, hey, is this ever going to happen? That
question's been going on for forever.
Well, I'm just saying, like, right now, it's just going to make the postseason. Everything's happy. But soon, if they continue to hopefully have this consistency where they make the postseason, that won't be, and it shouldn't be, just the standard, like the bar of like, just make the postseason, everything's fine.
How many examples other than like Yankees, Dodgers, and not to really put on the spot, but are there a lot of examples other than Yankees, Dodgers where you're making the postseason consistently and making change, a lot of change? Because the Cubs have done it. Obviously, they changed managers even when they were like a postseason team to upgrade their manager to like Joe Madden from Renteria. But you know what I mean? Like, I feel like if you get in the postseason a lot, that's probably, for most organizations, enough to keep it stable.
Yeah, and it depends how the organization is trending. If the organization is trending where it's like, well, next year that's like our window's up, and then you see how things go, and then 2 years after they made a run, or the 2 years.
2 years, yeah, definitely.
You know what I mean?
Agree.
Like,
I mean, if they miss the postseason, that's what I'm saying. I think 2025, you take the deep breath. If the Padres miss the postseason the next 2 years, of course you would have change. But just like if they make the postseason in 2025, of course you might have more stability.
Basically, what I'm saying is, don't miss the postseason next year.
That's every year, though, isn't it?
Well, I'm saying that coming off of this past year, 93 wins, best regular season since 98, all the special moments.
Right.
It's, I said it after 2022. Don't miss the postseason after you spend almost $1 billion in the offseason.
We said after 2023, you can't go back-to-back years out of the postseason. Right? I feel like every year we're going to say you can't miss the postseason.
Fine. I guess, hey, don't make the postseason next year. Everything's fine.
Well, I don't think my jumping off point for the offseason is go make the postseason. And man, I mean, that would be a good year to go make the postseason.
Yeah, it would.
Considering everything that they've been dealing with, the division that they're in.
And I'm not saying next year it's got to be World Series or bust. No, I'm saying
that's what I'm saying. It's a fine line. You're threading a needle. Like, you're in, but you're not winning the World Series. Well, what do you have to do to be perfectly content with what you did? Get to a championship series?
Well, I'm saying just don't miss the postseason.
Okay.
Yeah.
But you were saying make the postseason, everything's fine. But you were kind of saying it like a joking manner, right? Like they're going to have to do more than make the postseason.
No, I was being serious.
Oh, because you said if they make the postseason like 5 out of 7 years, like they've made it 3 of 5. So if they make it next year, it's 4 of 6.
Yeah, it's really good.
Yeah. So that's, I feel like for the organization, that's more than good enough.
Yeah. And I'm just saying, I was relaying it to the Dodgers situation. Like, Dave Roberts was gone. And how many times they make the postseason World Series with him as their manager, winningest manager in baseball history?
I agree. It's just different.
It's different, but at some point, like, are you going to go over that hump or not? I'm just looking at next year. The 5 years down the road, who cares about that? Next year, you've locked up Shildt. Preller's going to be here. You've come off this really, really good season, not a special season, but a really, really good season. Can you back that up with some consistency? Can you back that up with making back-to-back postseason appearances for the first time since 05-06?
And just the second time in the history of the franchise.
Because you didn't do it after 96. You didn't do it after 98. You didn't do it after 84. You didn't do it after 2000. You didn't do it after 2022. So, like, that's where, there is still pressure, even though you might say Preller's seat is cold, which I agree. He's not like on any hot seat to perform and have some crazy season like he did last year. But, can you back up a season? They just made a postseason run with another postseason run, because that's what people expect. That's what people want. That's what you're paying these high-priced players for. You're not paying Manny Machado to make the postseason every other year. You're paying Manny Machado to make the postseason every year and give you a chance to win the World Series.
Right. I just draw the line at the postseason because the Braves are paying people the same way, and the Phillies are paying people the same way, and the Dodgers are paying people the same way, and the Giants' desires are similar to San Diego.
Yeah, and I'm not saying World Series are bust.
Yeah, I know, and I hate it. I want to see them win the World Series too. They were best aligned to win the World Series right now.
I only said World Series are bust after 2022.
And they missed the postseason.
Yeah, and there's a lot of change. There's a lot of change. They slashed payroll by $90 million. They got a new manager.
They did. There was a ton of change, but the GM stayed. All right, more on this on the other side. It's Jon and Jim.
All right, this update is brought to you by Angelo's Towing. Mike Shildt on the verge of signing a 2-year contract extension, according to our Padres insider, Kevin Acee. Of course, the GM meetings are underway in Texas. NBA news of the day, Joel Embiid has been suspended 3 games for his altercation in the locker room with a reporter. And the college football playoff rankings are out. Oregon is the number 1 team in the playoff rankings, and Boise State comes in at the 12 seed. Stuck on the road, Angelo's Towing is here for you 24/7 with over 20 years of experience offering towing and roadside services. For friendly, fast service, call Angelo's Towing at 619-702-8888 or visit angelostowing.com.
All right, so Mike Shildt has his extension for 2027. GM meetings underway. Winter meetings are going to be underway in a month. Free agency is underway. So there's things happening. We'll see about the coaching staff for Mike Shildt. I don't know if we touched on the college football playoff. The initial rankings are out. You've mentioned in your update. No crazy surprises there. It was a relatively quiet day, honestly, locally for sports. And then you get the Mike Shildt news. We've got Aztecs basketball tomorrow night against UCSD. We'll broadcast outside, by the way, from Viejas, beginning at 3 p.m. Jon Jim. So what turned out, what we thought was maybe a non-busy sports day has turned out to be kind of a busy sports day locally with the Mike Shildt news, because we were waiting on that.
Yeah, it was like something that Preller talked about that they were working on. It was not a matter of if, it was a matter of when.
Definitely. I didn't know we'd get 2 years, though.
What did you expect him to get?
1 year, because that's what Preller's lined up for.
Yeah, it's a little weird. 2 years for him, and Preller's in 2026, but the extension is all that matters. I mean, even if you got a 1-year contract extension, say you miss the postseason next year, then what? Say you have a bad season.
Well, then they'd be gone.
Yeah,
that's my point of the 2 year. That gives them breathing room.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So lining up with Preller would only mean he would get 1 year, and if they miss the postseason next year, they win 75 games.
He'd be out.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah,
Definitely. 100%. I mean, that's why I think 2 years is significant, because I think 2 years you have a down year and you've bought yourself 2026. Could be wrong. That's just my hunch.
So the manager's gone, but not the GM.
No, the GM. My theory here, we haven't heard from the Padres in any capacity other than Preller once. My theory here is
if it was a 1-year deal.
Shildt is through 2027. I bet Preller is through 2027 now. I'll make a bet. I'd bet that.
Okay.
I bet Preller's through 2027. So now that they're through 2027, I think they could have a quote unquote off year. I don't want to see it, but I think they could. And I think maybe they could withstand it. I think if they're both signed through 2026, 2025 is a bad year, you're out, because the lame duck is 2026. Now the lame duck is 2027. You can survive a down year in 2025 because you're signed through 2027. That's my hunch. It depends how down is down. Is down 84 wins and the last team in the postseason, is down 74 wins and 13 games out of the postseason.
Well, the good thing is Mike Shildt never missed the postseason.
True.
As a manager.
That's right.
Managing a full season.
Right. He's got a really good career winning percentage. It's 563.
Really he's had some really bad postseason losses for sure.
Yes,
he has. He was up 1-0 against the Padres in 2020 here, for that wild card round.
That's right.
Blew that. Blew the 2-1 lead this past year.
100%. I agree with you completely.
Made the NLCS in 2021 or 2020.
Did they lose a wild card game to the Dodgers?
They did lose a wild card game to the Dodgers in 2021. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because the Dodgers were the wild card team there. Cardinals were also the wild card team. It was in LA. They lost in extras.
Yeah. So you're right. And I was critical, and you were too. And I think rightfully, of some of his decisions in certainly the Dodgers series. I don't think it was well managed. That's okay. I think he did a nice job managing the team. I don't think he managed game one well. I think it could have cost them the ability to move on, truthfully. I said it. I think if they have a better strategy for Ohtani with a 3-run lead early in that game, and they get out of that inning with still a multiple-run lead, maybe they sweep the Dodgers. I know it's crying over spilled milk, but I don't think he managed that series overly well, but I still think he deserved an extension, which came today.
And I don't think that the move to have Cease pitch on 3 days stretch was like Mike Shildt, slamming his fist on the table, like, you got to start Dylan Cease. That was an organization move and asking Dylan Cease how he felt. But yeah, game one for sure. Nothing really he could have done in Game 5.
No,
because the team just didn't show up.
Yep.
But yeah, I mean, he's been a great regular season manager. Postseason, not so much.
Agreed.
Postseason, there's been some issues. So
true.
I think, like you said, the main thing was just getting in the postseason, which was the same thing this past year. Make the postseason, see what happens. Next year, same directive. Make the postseason, see what happens. And the following year, make the postseason, see what happens. You know, that is the directive going forward here, and the goal for this team for the foreseeable future, as long as Mike Shildt and AJ Preller are here together.
Yeah, the issue is, I'm going to say this repeatedly in the months and potentially years ahead, they'll never be better set up than 2024. It doesn't mean they don't win a World Series in 2025, but you're not going to be better set up. You're not going in 40-20, taking on a Dodger team.
What if they went on 42-18?
Whatever it was. Were they 42-18 or 42-17? Or
Well,
I mean, it was incredible.
The last 2 games of the year didn't really mean anything.
I mean, they were playing unbelievably well. And the Dodgers heading into the postseason didn't have all the momentum. They played well enough, but they didn't have all the momentum.
And just because they were, quote unquote, set up the best this year for the second half, and the roster they had, doesn't mean that they can't make a run if they don't have that type of second half or that type of roster. And the Dodgers won 98 games this year. For them, that's a down year.
100%.
And they went on to win the World Series with 2 starting pitchers. Well, 3, I guess, because they had Buehler.
Yep.
But it's all about right timing, making the right moves, getting a little bit lucky, having some guys outperform, some big time performances. Like, you need a lot of things to go right for you. But you're right. The roster on paper, I don't know if they're going to have that type of roster again in the foreseeable future.
I mean, their bullpen was elite. Their offense was clicking at that time. Machado had a very good second half to his regular season. Jackson Merrill's year. Fernando Tatis was healthy. Your rotation was good. We found out about Joe Musgrove in the postseason, right? Did it happen against?
It happened right before Game 1 in LA, right? Or
after game,
right before Game 1, or after Game 1? No, right before Game 1. It was after the Braves series. Because he left in game. He left in Game 2.
So they were well positioned. But to your point, I mean, you don't have to be perfectly well positioned to win a World Series, but it felt as if they were really well positioned, obviously, here in 2024. All right, your reaction. Mike Shildt has an extension through 2027. 70470. Start it with team, or open up that talkback mic on the free iHeartRadio app. Search for San Diego Sports 760. On the other side, we will get to Jim's back page. We're here until 6 p.m. It's Jon and Jim. All right, tomorrow, join us, Viejas Arena, San Diego State, UCSD. Pre-game coverage officially begins at 6. Jon and Jim will broadcast live from outside. We're looking
Good, other than the fact that it's dark by 4 p.m.
You do hate that.
It's nice during the day.
Well, yeah. As
What?
opposed to nice during the night.
Well, yeah, because it gets chilly at night now.
True.
Yeah, my house is cold, man.
My house is freezing.
Yeah. It's like we had to put an extra blanket on the bed the other night.
It's like 40 something this morning.
Do you have heat?
No.
You don't have heat.
Well, we do.
You just don't use it.
But we don't use it because I don't like if I turn it on and then the house gets really hot at night.
Yeah.
And I start sweating and then I have to get up. It's just
It's a fine line.
Yeah.
I always forget to turn it off.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
So you both have heat and AC?
No AC.
No,
I have no AC.
I have an AC unit that's plugged into like through the window.
Not central air.
Not central air, no.
Okay.
I have a window.
Yeah.
A window.
A window.
The window's your air
You have
conditioning.
one window.
One window.
One window.
And a screen door. So if I have the door open, it's like having two windows.
Well, you're right. At night it's been cold. During the day it's been nice. Let's see. Tomorrow, because we're outside, it's going to be
It's 71, something like that.
It's 74. It's nice.
I'll take it.
Yeah, we'll take 74.
I'll take it.
So anyway, join us outside Viejas Arena. Jon and Jim beginning at 3. Pregame coverage, myself and Ben Fletcher at 6. Ted Leitner back at the call. Final season calling San Diego State men's basketball for Uncle Teddy at San Diego State UCSD. You can hear it right here on San Diego Sports 760. All right, I do think it's that time. Is it that time?
Yeah.
Let's do it.
I completely whiffed yesterday because I did not give out the crumble cookies of the week.
Oh my gosh.
I feel like crumble cookies becoming kind of this like weird cult for some reason.
Is
like
it?
I've seen crumble cookies lines be out the like around the corner for crumble cookies to go buy them. Yeah.
Are you sure you didn't see people voting?
That was not what I saw, John.
You saw people buying cookies.
Yeah, buy cookies. Yeah.
Wow. All
Yeah,
right.
it was not a voting poll or voting booth. Or
Right.
anything.
Do you like chocolate or do you like vanilla?
Yeah.
Vote now on your favorite cookie.
Right.
All right. So what do we have for this week's cookie selection?
New York cheesesteak. Sorry, I'm an idiot. New York cheesecake.
That's like gross.
Cheesesteak. That's disgusting.
New York
Yeah.
cheesecake.
Okay.
New York
That
cheesesteak.
sounds much better.
Yeah.
Not cheesesteak. New York cheesecake.
Yeah, I want some onions in my cookie.
Yeah.
The original pink sugar cookie, which is I guess one of their staples.
Okay.
An original M&M candy cookie with like M&Ms in it.
Yeah. Yeah. Sure. That makes sense.
This one's I'm not a fan of this one. Oatmeal raisin. No thanks.
I love oatmeal
Yeah.
raisin, dude.
Of course you do.
These has raisins in it.
Yeah, of course you do.
And I love oatmeal.
Yeah, of course you do. The strawberry cupcake cookie.
Yeah.
Peanut butter blossom cookie.
There we go.
The butter cake.
Okay.
And then just a plain old milk chocolate chip. Not very exciting selections this week for Crumble, but nonetheless, there they are.
Yeah. I wonder, like, they didn't. Well, you're before Thanksgiving, but you're not to Thanksgiving. It's not Christmas. You got to have one, like, normal week. It's just November. Like, what are you going to do?
Yeah, when's the Thanksgiving dinner turkey?
Yeah. It's not pumpkin
Yeah.
spice.
Yeah, I'm sure they will have a couple of pumpkin related, Thanksgiving related.
Yeah,
crumble
probably.
cookies
Yeah.
coming up here.
Cranberry.
Yeah. I saw also they sell crumble cookie cereal at Costco. Like
Sounds amazing.
but it's not really cereal, it's just like little tiny chocolate chip cookies.
That's incredible.
It's like Cookie Crisp.
I guess, but it's like little
Probably
mini cookies.
better.
That's what Cookie Crisp
Yeah.
was.
Okay.
Five Guys is releasing a new candy cane crunch milkshake. The holiday season is here, and Five Guys is introducing a new limited time candy cane crunch milkshake, offering customers the chance to create hundreds of festive milkshake combinations with the new candy cane crunch mix-in. Fans can mix and match flavors for up to 500 unique shake combinations, from chocolate to even bacon, as far as their for the holiday treat.
Wow.
Now, Five Guys
Yeah.
is ridiculous.
In what way?
You go there and you buy I'm not even joking. If you go there and you just buy a cheeseburger
Yeah.
with a medium drink and a medium fry, it's damn near almost $20.
Why? Compare that to if I went to McDonald's and bought burger, Medium fry, medium drink.
You could get it for right now. They have a $5 meal deal.
But even if they didn't,
around
Five
$10.
Guys has always been expensive.
all right, so it's almost double the cost.
Yeah, it's the joke is you better save up to go to Five Guys because it's going to cost you an arm and leg.
Interesting.
Yeah,
I didn't realize that.
And Five Guys has really good burgers.
Yeah, and they're huge.
They're really good.
So higher quality meat, better.
Dude,
Yeah.
I can go to In-N-Out Burger and get the same quality for under $10.
Right. Interesting. I didn't realize that.
But Five Guys is extremely expensive.
Right.
Talk about inflation. Five Guys is the
it's gonna be
poster
10
child
guys
for
before the end of the night.
Pause. You know the movie Smile?
Never have heard of it.
Have you ever heard of the movie Smile?
Yes.
It's about dentistry.
It's a horror movie. No, it's a horror
not
movie.
really.
They just came
I'd
out
say, John, you might remember like a year or two ago, their promotional campaign was they were putting people like behind home plate at baseball games, and they're just like smiling creepily, and it was freaking people out that didn't know what it was.
Yes.
So they just released Smile 2, the sequel to Smile.
Yeah.
And right now, if you want to watch the first 7 minutes of Smile 2 for free, all you got to do is go to paramountpictures.com/smile.
Okay.
Here's the kicker, though. It says you can only watch the first 7 minutes of the movie if you are smiling for the entire 7 minutes. So when I click here, tap to smile, it says allow access to your camera.
And they come on.
And it's you. I just tested it out. And you have to smile to watch the first 7 minutes. And if you stop smiling, the movie pauses and says smile to resume.
That's incredible.
So like you just said, tap the smile. It says allow the camera.
That's incredible.
And it turns on. And then I smile and it's playing the first 7 minutes of the movie.
Stop smiling.
Okay. Keep smiling.
And stop. That's crazy.
Yeah. So if you want to watch the first 7 minutes of Smile 2.
I almost bet money that's going to end up in the marketing campaign because they're going to just merge all those videos of everyone looking like jackasses and smiling into their phones.
But I love that's brilliant marketing.
Brilliant.
Yeah, that's creative.
I heard it was a good horror movie too.
And I guess Jack Nicholson's kid is like one of the stars of the movie. So he's got that creepy Jack smile.
Are you into horror movies?
I'm not a big horror movie guy. I could watch it. I just hate I just like the jump scare stuff. And I also
hate that.
I also will never actively watch on my own any what is it? Exorcism movies. I just don't I don't
I'm not into
I
that.
stay far away.
I don't
from
even know what that means.
I don't
possession movies, John.
I don't deal with that.
What kind of movies?
Possession.
What's that mean? Like first and 10?
Like demons
we got the
inside
ball.
of you.
No, like you've been possessed
by like a demon.
like ghosts and stuff.
Right.
Like the priest has to
right. Not the first possession of the game.
No, not a possession of the game. No. And finally, I don't understand this. It makes no sense, but the infatuation of Shohei Ohtani continues because the other day, his 51st home run ball that he hit in the 9th inning off of a position player.
Right. In Miami.
His 6-for-6 day.
Yep.
Right. After he just went 50-50.
That was ridiculous.
Sold it in auction for $427,000.
Number 51, which has been done 51 other times in the history of the sport.
And the number 50 home run ball sold for $4.39 million.
I guess you get a nice value. Like if one went for 4, you get this one for 10% at $400K.
Stupid. I think those home run balls, in my opinion, are worthless. They mean nothing to me. 50.
Yeah, because how many guys have hit 50 home runs in a season? We looked it up. I mean, there's truly 50 seasons.
Now are you doing a combo sell of the home run ball and the base?
Then we're talking. Yeah. Now we're talking.
But the home run ball, I mean, how many?
$4 million?
Ridiculous.
Yeah.
I think it's gonna be worthless.
Yeah,
like,
that's my point.
10 years. Yeah.
It will be worthless.
They're like, really? We made a big deal out of this?
Because there will.
Oh, yeah. I think it's definitely because of how easy it is to steal bags now.
Yeah.
And how, Ohtani, it was just, I mean, it's literally gifted. I mean, the postseason, how many stolen bases do you have? Exactly. What's the answer? Like less than 5.
Well, next year, it's like the first ever 5-win, 5-steal, 5-homer first half. All right, we're back tomorrow, 3 p.m. outside PA House Arena, getting you ready for San Diego State and UCSD, the Aztecs 2024 opener for men's basketball. So we're back tomorrow. If you missed anything today, check it out at Sports SD.com. For Brent and Jim, I'm John. Keep it here at San Diego Sports 760.
Okay, peace out. Bye.
Bye.